Before we start, can we request everybody to stand for the prayer?
Ama namin, pakinggan mo po ang pagtawag namin sa iyong banal na pangalan. Basbasan mo po ang aming pagtitipon at kami kaluguran mo sa araw na ito. Pagyamanin mo po, Panginoon, at maging nakaayon sa iyong kalooban ang aming pagkikita-kita mula sa simula hanggang katapusan. Masalamin nawa namin ang layunin mong dakila sa aming buhay at maisagawa namin ngayon ang aming mga gawain na may kabutihan at pag-ibig sa aming kapwa. Kami po'y naniniklohod sa iyong harapan na kami iyong patnubayan at iwaksi sa aming kaisipan ang anumang masasamang kaisip, inggit at pakikipag-alit sa aming mga kasama. Bigyan mo kami ng sapat na lakas at katalinuhan upang may bahagi naman namin ang aming makakaya sa aming mga kasama sa pagtitipon na ito. Ilagbo sa aming diwa at puso ang pagmamahal na hindi naghihintay ng anumang kapalit. Bagkus ay bukas palad na magkakaloob ng anumang tulong. Panalangin namin ang lahat nito. Amen.
Good morning once again. On the part of the Committee on Ecology, the meeting is now called to order.
On the part of the Committee on Natural Resources, the meeting is hereby called into order.
Vice Chair Dan Fernandez.
Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, I move that we dispense the calling of the roll. I so move, Mr. and Madam Chair.
There's a motion duly seconded. The calling of the roll is dispensed with. With the permission of the co-chair of the Chairman of Committee on Natural Resources, Representative Elpidio F. Barsaga Jr., may I acknowledge the presence and attendance of our honorable colleagues present in this committee. Of course, the Chairman of the Committee on Natural Resources, Honorable Elpidio Barsaga Jr., Honorable Alfonso Umali, Honorable Jose C. Alvarez, Honorable Brian Raymond Yamsuan, Honorable Dan S. Fernandez, our Vice Chair, Honorable Salvador A. Plato, Honorable Joseph Stephen Paduano, Honorable Celso Regencia, Honorable Raul Daniel Manuel, Honorable Mark Go, Honorable Jose Francisco Kiko Benitez, and from Zoom, Representative Edsel Galeos, Representative Arnan Panaligan, Representative Jordin Jesus Remualdo, Representative Sergio Dagook, Representative Jose Marie Zubiri, Representative Gabriel Bordado, Representative Christopher Yap, Representative Midi Kua, Representative Eleanor Bullet Bagtang, Representative Reynaldo Estamayo, Representative Luz Mercado, Representative Joseph Tan, Representative Dante S. Garcia, Representative Edgardo Salvame, Representative Lucille Nava, Representative Edward Hagedorn, Representative Eric Yap, Representative Leody Tariela, Representative Joseph Lara, and Representative Antonio Legarda, and Representative Alfredo Marañon, and Representative Baby Aline Vargas Alfonso. We would like to thank all the honorable representatives present today. May I ask the COMSEC to acknowledge our resource persons and guests?
Madam Chair, Mr. Chair, before we acknowledge those persons joining us online, in person, we would like to acknowledge the following persons joining us online. We have Attorney Angelito Magna Adros from the NBI. We have Al De La Torre from BIFAR. Leah May Torres, CEC, from CEED, Omlang Kimberly. We have from COA, Attorney Gloria Camora, DRMS, DNR 4A, Ana Hunsay. We have from DNR Region 6, Red Livino Duran, from BMB, from Jores o Horace Tupas, Raymond Mercurio, DNR Calabarzon, DNR EMB Rochelle Padirayon, Natus Rodriguez, from 4A, Mike Garcia, from DFA, we have Elena Maningat, DFA, Romard Kevin, DFA Robert Quintin, Talisayon Arnel, from DOH we have Mon Martin, Dr. Romel Lisan, Dr. Kathleen June Asagra, Joey Lopena, RV Bernardo, Chris Balbuena, Gretchen Esole, Belinda Evangelista, and from DOJ, we have ASEC Angela Oliver, Pascasio, and State Council Calo. From Dole, Region 6, Attorney Dax Villarruel, Leslie, Attorney Erwin N. Aquino, Roderick Tamakay, from Noemi Lynn Abellana, Ms. Desai Rivera, from the DOST, from the DOST ITDI, Emelda Ongo, Jerry B. Mercado, from DOST Mimaropa, and then Oriental Mindoro, Jesse Pine, Charmaine Trillana, Mia Aranas, Liza Sarmento, Karen Nagtalon, Yolanda Cabigaw from the DOT, Chris Rodriguez from the DOT as well. We have Seni Palugna, Attorney Cherry Puligit from the DOTR, from DOTR Maritime, Chloe Arias, EMB Mimaropa, FFCCCII, George Chua Cham, Fireflies, Esike, FPI Raul Dialino, FPI Jojit Yap. We have from Greenpeace, Kat Santilan, Jefferson Chua, from Harbor Star, Attorney May Bella, from LGU, Bungamong, from the office of, from the mayor's office, Maria, Mother Earth Foundation, we have Jeremy Koo, from NBI Environmental Crime Division, Amiel Puguon, NFR, Marita Rodriguez. From the PNI, Attorney Val del Rosario, PKP, Jeremiah Dwight Sebastian, PDRMO of Oriental Mindoro, Vincent Gahol, Pilpesta, Abel Cagara, PIP J. Malikad, Nimpa Villamor, PISA Attorney Pete Aguilar, from PPA, POSD Wilfred Thomas Hore, Albert Tayabas, from the PPA, and then PSAA, Joselido Ilagan, from the UP LC, we have Ana Cosme and Attorney Nils Silva, and Vessel Captain Lawrence Bungalos with Attorney Patrick Sarmiento. I think. Joining us online. We have Sheila Lantaga from the Dole, Hasum Malinog, Rodela Romero from the DOE, DOE, Alvin Lim from DOE, Val de Guzman, Program Head, Attorney Maria Loreto Moya from the DOE, from the Attorney Maria Corazon Gonzalez, Marie Cris Pabajos, Adrin Villanueva, Mr. Tan from DLGU, Hernani Pabia, Administrator Marina, Sharon Aledo, Marina, Macho Vincent from Protect VIP, Ferdinand Melaya from KMAOS, Jennifer Cruz from, of course, Mayor of Pola. We have Asek Katre from the DSWD, Divina, is it?
So forth and so on.
So many things. We need to do this for the record. Director Matay, we have at least 5 more. The SW director, and then Director Eugene Cabrera, Yan at Salino from RD, John Michael Malabanan. Then we have Yusek from the DOJ. Vasquez. Ariel Vasquez. All right. And then from Attorney Preti Cachon from the DOJ, Raul Vasquez, we have Yusek of the DOJ. And then from the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Major Angeline Alvarez Jags. Is it Jags? Vaon Robert, we have Patriponio from MEPCOM. Is it Commander Artemio Abu from the Philippine Coast Guard, and then CG Cosme. Yes, all right. That would be all your, Madam Chair, those
Thank you,
attending
Comsec.
in person.
Yeah, thank you, Comsec. So before we proceed with the deliberation of the following measures, may I just be allowed to read my opening remarks?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Representative Paduano.
Madam Chair, just a point of clarification, since this is a joint hearing with the two committees, though the Committee on Ecology is the lead committee, but the chairman of the Committee on Natural Resources have not yet officially opened the end call for the official call of the roll. So, Madam Chair, may I ask the
chair of the Committee on Natural Resources has already called the roll. I mean, called to open this.
Yeah,
meeting.
yes, moved to open. It's declared to open, but he has not yet
Called the roll.
called the roll.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Well, just for the clarification, I made that clarification a while ago, and I was informed by our committee secretary that there will be a role, the recognition shall be made by the chairperson of the Committee on Ecology. Insofar as all the members of Congress are concerned, regardless whether or not they are members of the Committee on Ecology or Committee on Natural Resources. And I think our good colleague, Congressman Paduano, has been duly recognized. We'll
Thank
just
you.
make the segregation insofar as the minutes of the meetings are concerned.
I submit to the wisdom of the chair.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Paduano. So so may I continue? Chairman of the Committee on Natural Resources, Congressman Elpidio F. Barsaga Jr. distinguished members of both committees, esteemed colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my pleasure to welcome everyone to the joint hearing of the Committees on Ecology and Natural Resources. At hand are two House resolutions, number 829 filed by the Honorable Chairman Barzaga, and House Resolution number 835 filed by the Honorable Alfonso V. Omali Jr. Their measures are referring to the oil spill caused by MT Princess Empress that capsized in Oriental Mindoro on 28 February 2023, an incident that continues to threaten the marine environment and already deeply affected thousands of families. I have three interests in this hearing, in addition to the issues that Chair Barzaga and Kong Omali and members of the committee might raise. First, this committee is truly interested in knowing how and why this oil spill even happened. We are aware that seaport transport, especially of industrial oil, carries inherent risks to ecosystems and human health. That is why the government promulgated laws and established institutions to prevent the occurrence of these risks. We have the Marina to determine structural integrity of the ship through the issuance of a Certificate of Public Convenience, or CPC. We have the PCG that regulates the movement of ships and tankers by, among other things, ascertaining that vessels are properly certificated as seaworthy and are authorized to operate within the Philippine waters. Yet we had a seemingly undocumented ship that freely exited a local port, developed engine trouble offshore, capsized, caused a massive oil spill, and the so-called center of shorefish biodiversity, seriously damaged huge areas of the Calabarzon, Mimaropa, and Western Visayas regions, and unreasonably disrupted the livelihoods of thousands of Filipinos. Second, this committee is concerned with how we can better prepared, more fully equipped, and appropriately funded to contain oil spills, immediately prevent this from spreading, and efficiently undertake cleanup activities. While we commend the valuable efforts of those involved in the cleanup, cannot be denied that there can always be room for improvement in our response to these incidents. Third, the committee needs to review how we can maximize the benefits of RA 9483, or the Oil Pollution Compensation Act of 2007. This is a law which provides for the adoption of internationally accepted measures that provides, among other things, for the strict liability of ship owners for oil pollution damage, systems of compulsory insurance and certification, and action for compensation. The committee would like to know whether our implementers have provided the comprehensive implementing rules and regulations, or the IRR, in this law, or for this law. In this respect, we want to be informed for the exact status of the government's claim for the oil spill incident with the Claim Submission Office that was established by the IOPC funds, or the International Oil Pollution Compensation Funds, and the Ship Owners Protection and Indemnity Club. It's important to know the answers to these concerns so that we can identify gaps in policies, determine necessary legislative actions, and in so doing, prevent oil spill disasters from happening. Once again, welcome to this joint committee, and magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Chairman Barzaga.
Well, at the outset, let me first recognize the members of our committee, namely Congressman Edward Hagedorn, representing the 3rd District of Palawan, and on Zoom, we have Congressman Hil Bugalyon, representing Party List Ako Bicol. Considering further that our chairperson has already made a very concise and well-rounded welcome remarks, I would dispense with any preliminary statement, and therefore let us just start the committee hearing, considering the number of resource persons and considering further the number of congressmen and congresswomen who really want to interpolate immediately, most especially the man from Laguna. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair Barzaga. So may we now go to the sponsorship speech of Congressman Omali for House Resolution number 835, a measure which also calls for an investigation on the sufficiency of our maritime laws, safety standards, and our other measures to ensure accountability of sea carriers involved in maritime accidents. May I acknowledge Representative Alfonso V. Umali Jr. for his sponsorship speech.
Madam Chair and Mr. Chair, this is a resolution requesting for the Committee on Transportation. Bakit transportation ito? Mali.
Maritime laws.
Okay. So na-refer lang dito sa committee nito. Anyway, pwede ba itong magamit na ng sponsorship speech be used as my for the committee?
Thank you, Representative Umali. We will adopt your sponsorship speech as your submitted speech as your sponsorship speech. Kanina pa tayo mga kinakabahan dahil si Tito PD, ang aking chairman dito, ay talagang excited na po kaming marinig kung bakit ano bang nangyari sa atin. Sinasabi nila might be a little late, but I don't think it's lahat ng nangyayari is God's perfect time. So this is a perfect time for all of us to be one in this issue. So bago ako magsalita ng aking mga hinanakit, may we recognize first our Vice Chair, Representative Dan S. Fernandez.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Chairman Barsaga. I thought we're going to recognize first the PCG and the Marina before I put my question on the committee. But nevertheless, this representative would like to give my comments on this issue precisely because we have a committee as well at 11 o'clock. But napakasakit po nung nangyari sa atin and our hearts bleeds on this because as a former chairman of the Committee on Ecology, we all know that tons of oil are being transported every year all across the country. And ito pong pangyayaring ito ay talagang masasabi po natin at it strike in the heart of every Filipinos. I'm just wondering I was able to watch yung nangyari po sa investigation sa television and the news, and we were able to find out that there are some fighting over the responsibilities between the Marina and the PCG. Sa Philippine Coast Guard, they are claiming that there is an amended CPC, but according to the Marina, walang amended CPC. So siguro para lang to mapabilis po natin yung ating pong talakayan, can we ask the Marina and the PCG kung na-resolve na po ba tong issue, kung sino po ba talaga ang tama at mali with regards to the CPC? Siguro Marina first.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Apologies, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair. I am Assistant Secretary for Maritime DOTR. Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, can I respond to that query po on behalf of our agencies, Madam Chair, Mr. Chair?
On behalf of
The Marina and PCG, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Thank you po.
So na-resolve na po ba yung sa issue ng CPC, amended Certified Public Convenience? Can you answer that, please?
Yes, sir. It has been resolved already. To provide a clarification, actually po, isa lang pong CPC ang pinag-uusapan natin dito. Tama po ang Marina when it said na wala pong amendment. Ang Philippine Coast Guard naman po, nung lumayag po yung barko, meron pong lumalabas na decision, supposedly ang Marina, na sinasabi po na naamyendahan na yung CPC. And it was on the basis of this supposed decision that they exercise discretion to let the vessel sail.
So in other words, merong failure on the part of the PCG, considering that there is no amendment on the CPC, but still the PCG let the MT Princess Empress to go on sale. Can the PCG answer the query of this representation, please?
Yes, that is correct. The vessel has been operating long before. It presented documents saying that the vessel is newly constructed. All the documents are in order, except for the CPC, of which there is a corresponding equivalent document presented, consistently presented to us, and that is a decision on the amendment on the portion of the CPC saying that the vessel is allowed to sail. So by presumption of regularity, the people of the Coast Guard cleared the vessel. The clearing speaks for the seaworthiness and of course the orderly and the documentations of the vessel.
But the actuality of the amended portion of the CPC was not received by the office of the PCG. Am I right?
Yes, the actual document.
So you have presumed that the amended part of the CPC will already being conducted by the Marina.
That is correct.
But the actuality of receiving the copy of that amended part have not been received by the PCG.
There is a copy presented to the Coast Guard about that this CPC, and by presumption of regularity, I think the problem on the Coast Guard is we don't, our people don't have this capability to check the authenticity of this document.
Okay, sige, I will not venture on that too much, no, because may limit lang po yung time natin. So I'll be asking yung shipper po natin, no, yung ating pong MT Princess Empress. Can somebody answer from the MT Princess Empress? Nandito po ba sila? Wala yung owner.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is the captain of Motor Tanker Princess Empress.
So you are the representative of the MT Princess Marina. Why are you not in here, Mr. Chairman, in this committee? Yung sa MT Princess Marina po, Empress pala. So you are the owner of the MT Princess?
No, Your Honor. I am the captain of Princess Empress because the address of the invitation is.
So you are the captain of the MT Princess Empress. Hindi po kayo ang may-ari.
Hindi po.
The person beside you is your lawyer.
Yes, sir. Yes po.
Mr. Chairman, can we ask the whole members of this, I mean the resource speakers, to take their oath before we proceed with our discussion?
We direct the committee secretary to acknowledge and the guests who are present and who's going to present their statements or sides today. Comsec.
May I ask those person would be representing their agencies and would be giving their testimony or data or evidence to this committee to stand up. Mga sabay-sabay na. Including those joining us online. Can you rise up and then raise your right hand and state that I do solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You may now start.
Madam Chairman, thank you so much. I will be continuing my query. Captain, can you kindly, Captain,
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Can I ask kung bakit wala po yung owner ng barko po?
Your Honor, kasi po, ang naka-address po sa invitation letter is naka-address po sa akin po. The captain of the vessel po.
Okay, anyway, Captain, ano pong size nung vessel po ninyo? If I not mistaken, no, yung nakalagay po sa website nyo is 50 meters by 9 meters. Am I right?
Size or
Yes, yung length and width.
yes po.
50 by 9 siya, di ba?
Opo.
So, magkano po yung insurance na na-cover nung inyo pong vessel?
Hindi ko po alam, Your Honor, pagdating sa insurance.
Hindi nyo alam kung sandali. Kasi siguro Marina can answer this. Marina, alam po ba natin kung magkano ang insurance ng vessel na pinag-uusapan po natin, MT Princess? Marina, please. Marina, can you answer this?
Madam Chair, the coverage of the MT Empress is 1 billion for cargo.
For cargo. 1 billion pesos ang kanyang maximum
for
liability.
cargo.
So that is the maximum liability.
No, they still have deductible amount, which we call beneficial liability.
Are these in line with the Civil Liability Convention of 1992? Na kung saan nakalagay doon ay the size of the vessel will commensurate the gross registered tonnage, the GRT. Na kung saan ang GRT siya magko-correspond doon sa tinatawag nating special SDR,
Special limitation.
special drawing rights.
Yes.
Na kung saan it has a corresponding amount of compensation to our
Liability.
damage areas, no? And the
Yes,
reason why
Mr.
I'm asking yung size ng ating vessel, it commensurate to the insurance that will have the amount of liability.
Okay.
And that's the reason why I'm trying to have a premise on how big the vessel is in order for us to find out how much will benefit our stakeholders who have been suffering on this issue. Kasi considering that alam naman po natin na nangyari doon sa Guimaras, 200,000 liters of oil ang na-spill. And this is much bigger. If I'm not right, if I'm not wrong, 800 tons ba?
If I may, Your Honor.
Hindi, I'm just asking kung 800 tons po yung na-spill ng MT Princess. Can you answer kung 800 tons yung na-spill sa area?
191.
Why is it hard for you to answer? Hindi ba alam ng Marina to? Hindi ba alam to ng PCG? Hindi ba to alam ng ano?
Hindi, the cargo is 800,000. But what was spilled is around 300,000, and there's still remaining.
Okay, so 300,000 ano po yun? 300,000 liters.
300
So kung 300,000 liters, this is much bigger than the Guimaras. The Guimaras is 200,000 liters.
I'm sorry, Madam
Yes.
Chair, the Guimaras is, I think, more than 1 million liters.
Yes, the 1 million liters.
Liters.
But the spilled oil is 200,000 liters. And that is on the record.
Okay,
So ngayon, 8.7 billion ang naging cost ng damage. So considering that this is much bigger, so ang pinag-uusapan natin dito is more than 8 billion now, ha? Kaya nga, I'm trying to talk about the insurance policy that MT Princess entered into. Otherwise, we will not be able to find out how much will these people will be able to get from the insurance. Yes, sir.
just a clarification. From the very start, the public has been informed that the vessel was carrying 800,000 liters of industrial oil. However, we have here the presentation of the Philippine Coast Guard, and it states in the last paragraph, page 2, vessel was laden with cargo of 991.984 metric tons of industrial fuel. And considering that there is 1,000 liters in 1 ton, then it presupposes that the cargo covers 991,000 instead of 800,000, which is correct between the two statements. This is a figure given by Philippine Coast Guard. Where is Philippine Coast Guard? Yes. And beforehand, you were required by this committee to take a note of office, to take a note.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
O ano tama sa atin? 800,000, 991,000.
The figure submitted is based on the costing manifest, Mr.
O
Chairman.
which will prevail, the declaration of the owner or the declaration stated in the manifest? Philippine Coast Guard.
The declaration of in the manifest.
Oh,
because
so
it
it
was
should be
submitted to us.
991,000, not 800,000. Because I've been always stating before that 800,000 liters is merely the declaration of the owner of the vessel without any confirmatory evidence. Now it's different now. Iba na ngayon, 991,000. And next question, how were you able to determine kung ganong karaming oil ang natira doon sa tanker?
Actually, Mr. Chair, until now, it is unquantified yet.
O,
How about
if unquantified, why did you say that only 300,000 liters of oil were spilled? 200,000. Kung unquantified hanggang ngayon, kung hindi nyo pa nasusukat, kung ilan ang nasa loob ng tanker. Ay naman.
Mr. Chair.
explain.
With the indulgence of our Chair of Natural Resources, maybe we could let the PCG, yeah, the Philippine Coast Guard, 2% their
991.
Madam Chair, if I may, no? If I
Yeah,
may,
yeah, yeah.
before
Oh,
the PCG give their presentation or the
Yes,
Marina, may I
yes.
be allowed to explore my query? Kasi this is with regard to the insured ship. Very very imperative because we will be able to find out how much will be the money that will be used for the rehabilitation of the areas. And dito pa lamang po, parang nakikita natin parang meron na tayong tinatago agad eh. So hindi ko alam kung yung vessel is ganito kalaki o ganito ang size. Kasi we will be basing our insurance on the vessel because yan ang nakalagay po sa CLC 92. Then we will be able to find out yung ating makukuwang insurance dito po sa size. At kung meron tayong 50 by 9, in my computation, which is 1 GRT is equal to 1,000 cubic meters, which is equivalent to 2 cubic meters, precisely ang inyong pong GRT is 3,600. At kung 3,600 ang inyong GRT, according to the CLC convention, 5,000 and below ang makukuha nyo pong compensation, is only almost I think 4 million or to 5 million dollars. At kung $5 million lamang po pinag-uusapan natin, that is 250 million to 300 million lamang po. Considering the 900,000 liters poured in our ocean. 8.7 billion, 200,000 sa Guimaras. So ibig sabihin, mas malaking pera ang kakailanganin natin dito. Nakuha niyo yung point natin? And that's the reason why the insurance is very important. Not only that, are we a member of the Fund 92?
We are.
Marina, are we a member?
Yes, sir, we are.
Are we paying the annual membership?
The contributions from the oil receivers, yes, sir.
How much is being paid by the government?
It's the oil industry po, which gives the contribution. I do not have the figures, Mr. Chair, but we can request po.
That's the reason why I'm asking this, because if the damage or the maximum liability that is that will be received by the damaged stakeholders, at least mako-compensate nung sa Fund 92, which was approved by 142 countries in that treaty. Now, ang tanong ko, do sa supplementary fund, are we a member of that?
No, sir.
Bakit? Ba't hindi tayo naging member nun? Kasi $750 million ang pwede nating i-derive from that kung member tayo. Bakit hindi tayo naging member ng supplementary fund protocol? Why?
May we hear from the DOJ, please?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Madam Chairman, Madam Chairperson, I'm sorry.
Actually, the DOJ has conducted 5 hearings already on this matter. And the 5 hearings are meant to explore the possibility of initiating criminal, civil, and administrative liabilities against the ship owner, the insurance company, the regulatory bodies, its officials, and employees who may have contributed to the sinking, to the unfortunate sinking of MT Princess Empress. And just to answer the good Congressman Dan Fernandez's question, the tonnage of MT Princess Empress is just 508 tons. 508 meaning to say that
Yes,
it would fall under the first tier of compensation, Your Honor.
Just a clarification, when we speak of 508 tonnage, what would be the maximum capacity?
Based on the record that was submitted by Marina and gathered by the NBI, which is the focal fact-finding investigation body in the interagency task force that the DOJ is heading, Your Honor, the gross tonnage is the net tonnage rather is 200 tons.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I have this in the website dito sa Princess Empress. With all due respect with the DOJ, this is in their website. Sinasabi mo kasing gross tonnage, correct ka doon, 508. But the dead weight tonnage is 1,144. Ang ibig sabihin ng dead weight tonnage, kasama na yung oil cargo. At yung 508 tonnage, yun yung ton ng barko. So in other words, kapag sinaba mo yung cargo, 1,143, and it is written here in their website, the MT Princess Empress. So this will not lie. So accordingly, kung meron tayong dead weight tonnage of 1,143 and tayo ay below sa 5,000, which is according to CLC, ay babayaran tayo nila ng almost $5 million.
Right.
But ito nga po yung mga requirements na itatanong ko rin sa DOJ. What are the requirements needed in order for us to avail of these funds that we, the Philippines, is a signatory of the treaty?
Exactly, Mr. Chairman and Congressman Fernandez. The IOPC representative attended the last hearing of the DOJ task force last April 25, and they confirmed the readiness to pay for this. And the PNI as well, the insurance company, already affirmed their readiness to pay for these certain amounts. What they are just, we would just simply have to coordinate with the PNI club, which is the insurance company, for us to be able to avail of this. But that we're just talking of the first level of liability. Because under the CLC, the Civil Liability Convention, Your Honors, there are 3 layers of liability actually. What we're just talking about, which is anchored or corresponds to the gross tonnage that the
Yes,
Congressman
yes,
adverted to, is the first level.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
I'm running out of time and I'm going to leave na rin, Mr. Chairman, Madam Chair. So my last question is this, okay, since that we have the 3 layers of trying to get the compensation for our victims, first, the insurance, second, sa CLC 92, and then sa supplementary fund. Basically, pag pinag-usapan yung supplementary fund, wala na tayo doon.
We don't have any
So
claim on
dalawa
that.
lamang ang pinag-uusapan natin dito. Considering that these are the options that we have for our people and for our community. Now, ang question is, with the violation that was committed by the ship owner, hindi pa natin pinag-uusapan dito na yung ship is a 50-year-old na according to the news ay refurbished. So, kung meron silang violation, I'm pretty sure they're not entitled for the insurance. Sa dalawa, hindi sila entitled. Yes or no?
Actually, Your Honor, you may be right on that point, because it would seem that questions in respect to misrepresentation could be a problem. But the good thing about this first layer of compensation is that it will be a liability of the ship owner and the insurer regardless of fault.
Yes,
So it is a no-fault obligation.
that is for the CLC convention.
Correct.
But for the insurance, kung ano yung maximum liability na insure nila, that kapag meron silang fault, they cannot get that damage liability. So, doon yung sa una. Now, ang tanong ko ngayon ganito, DOJ, how many ships do they own? Yung MT Princess?
Actually, Your Honor, during the first two hearings of our task force, we directed the DOTR, and we asked the DOTR and Marina particularly to issue a cease and desist order similar to what we do in respect to
What
LTFRB.
I'm asking is how much is their capitalization? How many ships do they have?
I think
Kasi
they have 3 ships, Your Honor.
Kasi we are trying to have a vision na if ever they are in fault, at least makontrol na natin yung kanilang pag-aari dahil yun ang i-compensate natin doon sa mga ano natin, sa ating mga victims. So Mr. Chairman, yun lamang po muna at maraming pong salamat, and I thank you so much for giving me a chance to ask some queries from
Thank
this
you.
representation. Maraming po salamat.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I know you have a meeting in the other room. So before we proceed, may I just would like to acknowledge the presence of the members via Zoom, Representative Siriaco Gato, Representative Amben Amante, Representative Juan Carlos Ataide, Representative Carlito Marquez, Representative Arlene Brosas, Representative Vanessa Aumentado.
On the part of the Committee on Natural Resources, the chairperson recognizes the presence of Congresswoman Arlene Brosas, representing the Gabriela party list.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So before we entertain other queries, may we ask the Secretary General to acknowledge the representative from the Philippine Coast Guard for their presentation of the position of the agency regarding the matter, to give light to the rest of the members present.
Madam Chair, we are acknowledging the representative of the Philippine Coast Guard for the brief presentation. May yes, may you state for the record your name, sir? Thank you so much.
Resources, distinguished members of both committees, other resource persons, ladies and gentlemen, magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. I am Admiral Artemio Manalo Abu. I am the Commandant of the Philippine Coast Guard. I'll be briefing this body on, I'll be delivering a briefing about the oil spill that took place sometime in 28 February of 2023. Next slide, please. My presentation will cover the following: the incident details, the response updates, the conduct of investigations, issues and concerns, and policy recommendations. Since the purpose of this gathering is in aid of legislation, so the last item is included. The incident summary. These are the particulars of the vessel. The vessel's name, MT Princess Empress. It is an IMO registered vessel. It is owned by RDC Real Marine Services Incorporated, with a gross tonnage of 508 metric tons and net tonnage of 208 metric tons. On 28 February 2023, while navigating through the turbulent waters of Tablas Strait, said vessel experienced foundering, which resulted to sinking. Next slide. Here are the details of the oil cargoes on board. Approximately including the cargoes and the oil used for propulsion and for generators, it carries around a little over 1 million liters of fuel at the time of the sinking. Next slide, please. So, next slide, please. Next slide for the incident timeline. Okay, here is the incident timeline. On 26 February 2023 at 7 p.m., the vessel departed from Port of Limay, Bataan en route to Iloilo City. On board at the time was 20 crew members based on the costing manifest. The vessel was laden with cargo of 991,984 metric tons of fuel, industrial fuel oil, as manifested in the costing manifest. Next slide. On February 28, 2023, 4 a.m., MT Princess Empress was reported to be in distress at 11 nautical miles in the vicinity waters of northeast of San Jose, Oriental Mindoro. Next slide. At 6:10 a.m. of same date, February 28, 2023, the Coast Guard conducted incident verification, and the personnel of Coast Guard Station Oriental Mindoro, the Coast Guard Station Substation in Calapan, the Special Operations Unit of the Coast Guard, and the Marine Environmental Protection Unit of the Coast Guard in Oriental Mindoro departed the shoreline and conducted the verification. However, at the first attempt, due to the severe weather condition prevailing, the mission was aborted. Next slide. At 8:20 a.m. of same date, on 28 February of 2023, the Coast Guard Station Oriental Mindoro reported that all crew members were successfully rescued by a passing foreign vessel named MBFS. So part po ng trabaho ng Coast Guard pag may maritime incident is to ensure that the crew are safe. So we continuously monitored the situation on the ground, and we called the attention of passing vessels to ensure that the crew of the vessel in distress will be given assistance. The master of said vessel confirmed the safety of the crew while the vessel was reported to be half submerged. So noong 8:20 a.m., half submerged pa lang po ang barko. At 11:12 a.m. of same date, the command center received information and directed the commander of MEPCOM, the Marine Environmental Protection Command of the Coast Guard, and the Coast Guard Aviation Force to dispatch their assets. And also another vessel of the Coast Guard, which happens to be in transit en route to Palawan for a maritime patrol, was directed to divert its course to proceed to the incident area. So yan po ang first responder natin. Nasa area na siya noong mangyari yun. Next slide. At 12:15 p.m., tugboat deployment communication, the Coast Guard was informed that the agent of MT Empress will be dispatching 2 tugboats with oil spill booms to the incident area. So from the very beginning, nandun na po yung manifestation of their responsibility na informing the Coast Guard that we will be deploying tugboats to assist in the incident. Next slide. At 12:55 p.m., we did the aerial survey using the helicopter of the Coast Guard, and at the first sortie, only oil sheen was observed. Next slide, please. At 5 p.m. of 28 February 2023, the crew of the said vessel was received at Subic by the Coast Guard. They were assisted and transported to Bay Point Hospital for immediate medical attention. Next slide, please. Then February 28 to 23, well, of course, upon ensuring the safety of the crew, here comes comes the mandate of the Coast Guard at some 395 meters underwater. So ang problema po ay kung paano natin ma-identify. So kailangan natin ng sophisticated equipment. So initially, yung dynamic positioning vessel Shinichi Maru was provided. It was contracted. Na kanyang nakita, intermittent, minimal discharge, and kaya hindi na po siya nilagyan. And it was observed that very minimal na talaga yung yung seepage ng langis. So right now, yan situation sa baba, nakasupot yung outlets, yung 8 na yan na outlets kung saan lumalabas yung langis. So that's the reason why the seepage now is under control. Next slide, please. So ito po yung response updates natin. Of course, the cleanup and disposal. What we did and what we are doing, doon pa lang po sa shoreline, meron tayong sa offshore, may offshore operations tayo. So to prevent the oil from reaching the shoreline, doon pa lang sa dagat ay hinuhuli na natin by deploying the oil spill boom. Using the tugboats, the hired tugboats by the spiller, assisted by the Coast Guard, doon pa lang po ay nilay natin yung oil spill boom. So kinocontain natin, nire-recover, and ina-applyan natin ng dispersant. Then, recovery, kung para wag naman po siya makarating sa shoreline further, naglagay din po tayo ng spill boom, preventive laying of spill boom sa mga sensitive areas sa shoreline, kung saan potential na magkaroon ng oil spill or maabot ng oil spill, naglagay po tayo ng mga protective oil spill boom. And the Coast Guard has been doing the recovery operations, the cleanup, of course, and coordination with other government agencies like the NAMRIA, DNR, DOH, DOLE, DOJ, AFP, PNP, Maritime Group, and other agencies of the government, especially the LGUs. We are in constant communication with the LGUs to make sure that they will feel that they are not neglected and the government is on top of the situation. Next slide, please. So today, yesterday, 08 May, ito na po yung waste collection update natin, the offshore response and the dispersant application. We have applied more than 29,000 liters of dispersant already. Next slide, please. Tuloy-tuloy po yung cleanup natin and assessment. Of course, we have people on the ground. Of course, with the assistance of other government agencies, the DOS, the DNR, the Bureau of Fisheries, and we are closely monitoring the conduct of the cleanup operations. So as depicted on the slides, makikita po natin meron na tayong cleanup declared cleaned and remaining shoreline to be cleaned. What we are doing, pinapipirma po namin yung LGUs, the local chief executives, kung acceptable na sa kanila yung kung pasa na sa kanila yung standard. Although ang ating pong pulisiya, it has to be science-based. Pero siyempre kailangan ay kumbinsido yung community. So pinapipirma namin sila doon para masabi namin, oh, your area is already clean. So are you happy? Will you accept this? Pinipirma naman po nila. Next slide, please. So these are the assisting agencies, international. Next slide, please. So the conduct of investigations, 4 po na investigation ang ginawa at ang kasalukuyang ginagawa. The MCI is the Marine Casualty Investigation. Part of the mandate of the Coast Guard is to ensure that we will determine the root cause of the incident, and that is why we will conduct the Marine Casualty Investigation. The purpose of this investigation is not to find fault, but to find the root cause of the incident for us to find ways how to devise regulations to prevent the similar incident from happening in the future. Also, Marina also did the same kind of investigation. Then we married our investigations to the Department of Transportation as reported here by Asik Yano. Now, for the claims, nag-i-evaluate po niya yung ship owner, the PNI, and IOPC. Well, of course, through the help of the Coast Guard, facilitation of the Coast Guard. From the very beginning, your Coast Guard coordinated not only with the ship owner, but also to the insurer, the PNI Club, and the IOPC, just to make sure that somebody will take responsibility. Then another investigation being conducted is the administrative investigation conducted by DNR, BIFAR, and the Coast Guard. So as everyone here might be thinking, kami po ay hindi nagtotolerate sa mga kasamahan namin kung sino ang may pagkakamali sa insidenteng ito. We have conducted the necessary administrative investigation to our own people, and we have sanctioned them accordingly. So yan po ang third investigation. And the last one, the investigation being conducted right now as chaired by the DOJ through the NBI is the criminal investigation. So what are the issues and concerns based on the incident? So anong nating napagtanto? We realize that our government doesn't have the available highly technical equipment for oil spill response. Matagal po bago natin na outsource yung equipment, yung robot, yung ROV para mag-determine kung saan at kung paano i-address yung barko na nasa ilalim. Now for the policy recommendation. First recommendation of the Coast Guard is the passage of amendment of the Philippine Coast Guard Law, the 9993. As readily seen in the report of the Marina sa kanilang Marine Casualty Investigation, it was said there that the conduct of pre-departure inspection must be removed. Kasi nga po, pre-departure inspection, yung provision na yan ay noon pang nga unang panahon na nasa batas natin. And that is very impossible for your Coast Guard to conduct pre-departure inspection in every vessels departing our ports. Let us be honest on that. So kailangan po mag-review natin yung Coast Guard law na nagsasabi na merong pre-departure inspection. Pwede po dyan na meron tayo ng random inspection if our people, if the inspecting officers will observe that there is a clear ground. So yun po, sa ibang bansa, tayong na lang po ang may batas na ganyan sa buong mundo. Ang Coast Guard na lang po ng Pilipinas ang inaatasan na magkaroon ng pre-departure inspection. Noong araw, mandatory pa nga nakalagay dyan eh. Pero dahil po sa mga nagdaan natin ng mga investigasyon, inalis na natin yung mandatory. Sa batas, inilagay na lang po ay pre-departure inspection. Next, among the recommendations, the passage of PCG modernization law. Well, of course, we are presenting this to the Congress. And the third one is the enactment of National Oil Spill Contingency Plan. The good thing here is, meron na pong National Oil Spill Contingency Plan ang Coast Guard issued by the Department of Transportation. It has gone through a public consultation, but we feel because of this incident, that is not enough. This National Oil Spill Contingency Plan has to be created by law. So yan po ang isa sa aming nakita na magandang recommendation dahil sa pangyayari na ito. I guess that's all for now. Your Coast Guard until now is doing the cleanup operations, monitoring, and for the information of the body, there is a lay down program for the siphoning of the oil, because that is the only thing that will determine, that will put closure to this incident. At the time, we'll put closure to this incident only the time when the oil, remaining oil, if there is any, will be siphoned. And that operation will commence sometime on the 18th of June. So yun po ang sitwasyon ngayon sa ground. The vessel is still there. Meron pa rin siyang mga minimal intermittent discharge, and of which the Coast Guard and the agencies of the government are continually responding and attending to it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, so thank you, Admiral Abu. Before we proceed with the queries of other representatives present, may we hear the position of Marina, the Maritime Industry Authority.
Madam Chair, we also have our own presentation, if you will allow.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank
Do you
you.
have a hard copy of your presentation?
None, Mr. Chair, none, we have. But we can send the copy to you, sir.
Okay, go ahead po. Before we proceed, may we request the representative of Marina to please state your name.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Honorable Chair. And good morning to all the congressmen here. I'm Engineer Ronald Bandalaria, the current Director of the Enforcement Service, Maritime Industry Authority. What I'll be presenting to you is the safety investigation on the tanker Princess Empress. Just for the record, yung pong safety investigation is a no-fault investigation, as mentioned by our colleague in the Philippine Coast Guard earlier. So next, please. Yes, sir.
What do you mean by no fault investigation?
What
What would be the significance of conducting investigation without determining any fault or negligence?
this safety investigation, sir, is under the Casualty Investigation Code adopted from the SOLAS Convention. So it is a no-fault investigation, sir, for the purpose of prevention or the recurring of future accidents, sir, of similar accidents. So as a background, so in 28 February 2023, Princess Empress listed and sunk at the vicinity waters of Oriental Mindoro. So it also departed from Limay, Bataan, carrying 800 kiloliters of industrial fuel oil bound for Iloilo. And this accident resulted to the loss of the ship and severe environmental damage due to the oil spill of persistent or the black oil. Next, please. So while navigating in the vicinity of Baco Oriental Mindoro, at the course 132 degrees, there was a 2.8 to 4.5 meter swell was experienced with the wind speed of 21 to 22 knots coming from the northeast. So Princess Empress was foundered by steep breaking waves on her port side. So this resulted to listing of up to 30 degrees and later to 60 degrees, which caused the sinking of the vessel, sir. Next, please. So huge volume of seawaters entered the accommodation and engine room compartment through the skylight or the funnel of the engine. So the engine room became flooded, resulting to the breakdown of its port side engine. So the master ordered the abandoned ship before the ship sank at the vicinity waters of the Mali Point, Oriental Mindoro, at a depth of approximately 394 meters. So no crew fatality or severe injury was reported. However, the sinking of the tanker resulted to severe environmental damage. So the potential cause of the sinking was the loss of its stability brought by reduction of ship's reserve buoyancy caused by uncontrolled flooding. So as mentioned, it resulted to listing of up to 10 degrees port and later progress to 30 to 60 degrees port side. Next, please. So showing here is the sinking of the details of the vessel. As mentioned earlier, it has a gross tonnage of 508 gross tonnage, sir. So you can see also in the screen, as mentioned earlier, there was no CPC amendment when the vessel sunk. And you can also see here that based on our gathered evidences and reports, the vessel was newly constructed and built in 2022. Although in the place of build, it was mentioned here that the vessel was actually built in Abata City. Next, please. So since it was a safety recommendation, sir, we have safety recommendations for the company as well as to the class society, which is the class registry of shipping, which is this will be adopted for the marina to enhance its policies. Next, please. We also have recommendation for the Maritime Industry Authority to amend its policies to enhance its safety procedures, sir. And also it has next, please. And also as a result of this safety investigation, as mentioned by the Philippine Coast Guard earlier, we have also safety recommendation for the Philippine Coast Guard, sir. And we have already submitted this the report of our safety investigation to the OTR and the OJ, sir. Thanks, sir.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Chair, go ahead.
Well, considering that we have already heard the presentation of the two leading government agencies insofar as this issue is concerned, and being one of the authors of the resolution calling for an investigation, may I be permitted to ask some clarificatory questioning?
Go ahead, Chairman.
Oh, thank. Well, just to clarify, because the public is a little bit confused. What agency of the government issues the certificate of public convenience insofar as Princess Empress is concerned?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, and honorable members of committees on ecology and natural resources. To all our resource person, ladies and gentlemen, I am Attorney Sharon Aledo of the Marina Legal Service. To answer your question, sir, pursuant to Republic Act 9295, which is the Domestic Shipping Development Act, the issuance of the Certificate of Public Convenience pertains to the Marina, sir, as the flag state administration of the Philippines.
For that information, well, according to Engineer Ronald Bandalaria, in his presentation, there was no certificate of public convenience regarding this vessel. Do you confirm that?
Yes, Mr. Chair, there was
And if
no,
there is no certificate of public convenience issued to the vessel, what would be the legal effect or legal significance?
the vessel should not have been allowed to sail, Mr. Chair. There has been no issue
Okay,
authority to operate.
the vessel should not be permitted to sail. What agency will determine whether the vessel will have the authority to issue to sail or not?
The Philippine Coast Guard conducts pre-departure inspection of all vessels operating nationwide, and they
Sorry,
have a checklist of
Philippine Coast Guard.
the Philippine Coast Guard conducts pre-departure
Okay.
inspection, Mr. Chair.
And we'll just give the opportunity to General Abu to respond on this point. General, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair, that is correct. The clearance of the vessel is granted by the Coast Guard upon the presentation of documents that appertain to the safety and necessary documentation of the vessel. In this particular instant, the MV Princess Empress, the agent, the representative of the company, has submitted and consistently submitting volumes of documents of the 19 voyages granted by the Coast Guard, volumes of documents saying that the vessel is brand new, the vessel is safe to sail. What the issue on the CPC at the particular instant when the vessel was cleared in Bataan? Yes, that is correct. There was no CPC presented, but there is a document presented saying that there is an approved decision that CPC is already allowed by Marina. So by presumption of regularity, because of the documents presented to the Coast Guard, all valid based on the expiration, based on the assessment of our personnel. That's the reason why we cleared the vessel, Mr. Chairman.
Just a follow-up. Could you please tell us the name of the agent who presented the documents?
You know, Mr. Chair, actually what we did, just to ensure that someone will be responsible and accountable for this, for the submission of the documents, we asked for a sworn affidavit. Ano pangalan? And this is a sworn affidavit of the agent, Mr. Christian Maiso. This document, this will be available to be submitted.
What does the affidavit contain substantially? Nakalagay ba yan? Sinasabi na may dokumentong sapat ang Princess Empress?
Let me read the content of the affidavit. There are three different agents required to do the affidavit, to execute an affidavit, Mr. Chairman. So basahin ko po yung isa. If you may permit, Mr. Chairman.
Be enlightened.
Huh? It says here, ako si Edwin Bondok Alvarez, na nasa hustong gulang, may asawa, nakatira sa Sitio Ayam, Barangay Lamao, Limay, Bataan, at kasalukuyan nagtatrabaho bilang ahente ng barkong MT Tanker Princess Empress sa ilalim ng kampanyang RDC Real Marine Services Incorporated, ay nagsasabi na bilang ahente ng nasabing barko ay nagsumite ng mga kukulang papeles sa barko ng barko sa Coast Guard Substation Limay. Number 1, Certificate of Philippine Registry. Number 2, Certificate of Ownership. Number 3, Marina Decision dated 16 November 2022 on the application for second amendment to Certificate of Public Convenience. Number 4, Minimum Safe Manning Certificate. 5, Tonnage Measurement Certificate. 6, Coach-wise License. 7, Ship Station License. 8, Certificate of Stability. 9, Load Line Certificate. 10, Cargo Ship Safety Construction Certificate. 11, Construction Certificate. 12, Cargo Ship Safety Equipment Certificate. 13, Certificate of Classification. 14, Interim Document of Compliance. 15, Sewage Pollution Prevention Certificate. 16, Oil Pollution Prevention Certificate. 17, Continuous Synopsis Record. 18, Certification of the submitted proof of insurance or other financial security. 19, Interim Safety Management Certificate. 20, Domestic Shipping Business Certificate. 21, National Ship Security Certificate. And lastly, Certificate of Accreditation from PPA.
Thank you very much, General, for that information. In order to abbreviate our proceedings, let us just focus on the Certificate of Public Convenience. You have mentioned that there was a decision made by the Marina. Just for the record, what is that decision? Substantially, ano ba yung decision? Na inaalaw na tumakbo yung Princess Empress?
Copy ng decision.
Allow niya yung decision. Allowing the
Para mapabilis tayo.
Mr. Chair, I have a copy here of the decision presented to the Coast Guard, which made the clearing officer of the Coast Guard to allow the vessel to sail.
Okay, Marina, what will be your comment regarding the statement by General Abu? According to them, a document was presented, a decision issued by Marina allowing the vessel to sail. Has there been a decision made by Marina?
Mr. Chair, based on our records, no CPC amendment has been done since the
That decision, is that genuine, fake, authentic, falsified?
the procedure, Mr. Chair, is
Oh, no, I'm not talking about the procedure. Ito na decision eh. Ang sabi nila ng Coast Guard, galing to sa Marina. Ibinigay ng agent ng ng tanker. Ang tanong ko lamang, totoo ba na meron kayong decision na ginawa o wala?
there was no decision
There was no decision.
made, Your Honor.
Did you execute any written statement contesting during the investigation that that decision was not in existence and therefore falsified?
There was no, our Marina NCR maintained that there was no CPC amendment
Kaya
decision.
tanong ko, nagawa ba kayo ng affidavit or statement in writing that that decision presented to Philippine Coast Guard is a falsified decision?
There was no such affidavit, Mr. Chair.
How
However,
will you
based
be
on
willing
our,
to execute an affidavit right now? Kasi nag-iimbestiga kayo. Nag-iimbestiga ang Philippine Coast Guard. Ang crucial will be according to Philippine Coast Guard, kaya lumayag yung barko sapagkat merong decision ang Marina. Kaya ang tanong ko, may decision ba wala? Sabi mo wala.
wala pong
Ay,
decision.
kung wala, dapat mag-execute kayo ng affidavit. At
Yes,
sabihin nyo,
Mr.
falsified
Chair.
yan. We have the DOJ. So we can file the appropriate cases for falsification.
Your
As
Honor,
simple
please,
as that.
Mr. Chairman. We are actually in the process of case build-up in respect to criminal cases,
Okay nga,
including
pero-
this particular
Well,
point.
Panyero, Pino a case build-up, pero ito na eh. Actually, okay, next question.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, they're all under oath, di ba, Mr.
Yes.
Chair? So, the mere fact na sinabi ng Marina na wala silang ini-issue na ganitong dokumento, meaning kung ano man pong papel ang nasa PCG might be a falsified document. In this case, may we request the PCG to give us a copy of the affidavit that you just read para meron po tayong kopya.
And
Mr.
together
Chair.
with the copy of that decision. Sa
Yes,
madaling
the
sabi,
decision.
Marina and Philippine Coast Guard, kung hindi pinresente ang dokumentong yan ng agent ng Princess Empress, hindi makakalayag at hindi tayo magkakaroon ng oil spill. Will that be a correct assumption?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, let's call the Princess Empress representative on Zoom. Talaga bang wala kayong kopya ng decision? Talaga yung decision na binigay ng inyong agent ay peke? Falsified?
Your Honor, hindi ko po alam. Hindi ko po alam.
You are who? What about the owners? Ang tagal-tagal ng pinag-uusapan to sa media. Hanggang ngayon, di nyo pa alam. Ay. Well, I think it's about time that we file the appropriate cases. Well, I'll go to another point. General Abu, you stated categorically that the vessel was laden with cargo of 991.984 metric tons of industrial fuel oil. My question is, where did you get this information?
Mr. Chairman, the figure was taken from the costing manifest submitted by the agent at the time of the clearing.
So in other words, this was a declaration made by the agent of the owner of the vessel.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And therefore, this would be binding upon the owner of the vessel.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Engineer Ronald Bandalaria, you made a presentation. And in your presentation, you stated that the ship is loaded only with 800,000 liters of industrial oil. Where did you get that figure?
Yes, sir. We get the figure from the statement provided by the SL Gas Harbor Bulk Terminal Corporation, which is the loading port of the vessel.
Do you have any document to show?
Yes, yes, sir. We have, but we have it. We don't have it now, but we will provide, sir.
Now, where is it? Your copy of the document?
It's included in the marine safety records, and as I have told before, that should be that is already provided with the DOJ. But as I said,
Okay. Thank you very much for that information. Being an officer of Marina, which would you believe? Which would be more credible? Because the manifest executed by the agent of the vessel or the one coming from a third person?
yeah,
Ano ba finding sa atin?
actually, sir, I haven't seen the cargo manifest on my own, but
You have not seen? You are conducting an investigation, no, Paul?
yeah,
Hindi nyo tinignan ang manifest?
yes, sir. But as we can see, I have said that it is 800 kiloliters, and the Coast Guard is saying that it is 900 something metric tons. So there is a matter of conversion here, sir. It's a liters against tons, sir.
Being an engineer, nagbabago ba yung conversion? That in every ton, there would be 1,000 liters?
Yes, sir. It depends on the density of the fluid, sir.
Ewan ko, hindi ko nga maintindihan na sa inyo. So, in short, based on your assumption, which is correct, 991 tons or 800,000 liters? Manifest na sinasabi na natin dito eh.
We only depend on what records we got from the SL Harbor, sir, which is 800 kiloliters, sir.
Okay. Marina is the one issuing permits and licenses for those who are manning the vessel, including the ship captain. Yes or no?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Were you able to verify the licenses of all the 20 personnel on board the tanker Princess Empress?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Do you have a copy of those documents?
They are all licensed and certificated.
Do
Yes,
you
sir.
have a copy?
Now, we don't have a copy today,
Okay,
sir, but we
next
can send you
question.
the copies po.
I have been following up and reading all the information regarding this issue. Has there been any statement given by Captain Lawrence Bongales, the master of the vessel?
Yes, sir. During the interview with the master, there is a, we conduct an interview with him, sir.
No. Has there been a written statement or an affidavit?
No, no, sir. It's not required under safety investigation, sir.
Not required. What about Philippine Coast Guard? Who is the more knowledgeable person who has A1 information regarding the sinking of the vessel?
Because as I have said, safety investigation do not
Ay,
require
no,
under
sino nga
affidavit, sir.
makakapagbigay ng impormasyon kung sakaling lumubog ang isang barko? Is it not the master of the vessel? Pero hindi nyo nakuha ng statement. What about Philippine Coast Guard? Have you taken any written statement of the captain of the vessel, General Abu?
At the time when the initial investigation was conducted with the Coast Guard for maritime casualty. Yeah, for purposes of supporting the maritime casualty investigation, what we did is to ask the crew, and they made a written narratives about the incident, Mr. Chairman.
The written narratives were they subscribed in order to guarantee their authenticity. Hindi rin. Oh, you just give me a copy, you just give this committee a copy of those documents. Engineer Bandolaria, Ronald, in your presentation, you stated that the abandoned ship order was given by the master of the vessel.
Correct, sir.
When?
During the interview, sir,
Kailan? Anong oras at anong araw?
I can't recall, sir, but it was during the safety investigations, sir,
Oo
that the
nga, pero
master.
may presentation tayo eh. Ang sabi mo, abandoned ship given by the master of the vessel. When was it
Yeah.
given?
The master ordered the abandoned ship when the vessel was about 60 degrees listing to the
What
port.
time and what day?
It's on the early morning of February 28, sir.
Early morning of February 28. Okay lang sila na-rescue. Hindi rin natin alam kung
Yeah, they
kung
were
12 oras
based on
sila
documents,
nasa
sir.
ibabaw ng tubig at lumalangoy o nagsasalbabida.
They are in the lifeboat, sir. They were rescued by a foreign
O
vessel.
nga, kailan
FS.
ni-rescue? And these are very material.
Actually, immediately after the sinking of the vessel, sir, they were rescued because they were in contact with the foreign vessel FS.
Ano, 5 minutes after the sinking of the vessel? Hindi, nag-iimbestiga nga tayo. Kinuna natin ang statement, interview natin. Hindi natin tinanong gano'ng katagal kayo sa laot? Hindi ba kayo kinagat ng mga pateng? And these are normal questions in the course of investigation. Oh, ay, maglilingon na tayo sa likod. You are not prepared. Kasi, ang tagal na itong isyong to. Now, there was also a statement that the tanker is brand new. What can you say about this, Philippine Coast Guard? General Labu.
Mr. Chair, based on the documents submitted and the synopsis record of the vessel, actually, to ensure that the Coast Guard is observing due diligence, well, this is after the incident. We issued a subpoena or a communication to the owner requesting for authentic copies of those documents, because those documents presented to us consistently are saying that the vessel is brand new. So how will my people doubt not to let the vessel sail if it is seaworthy because of the it's newly constructed, Mr. Chair. So the document submitted to us says that the vessel is a newly constructed vessel, Mr. Chair.
Well, that document is stating that the vessel is newly constructed.
I have
Was
it with
there any agency who participated in the issuance of that document?
I have with me the document issued by Marina, the continuous synopsis record. With me here, Mr. Chairman, that says that the vessel was built, date of registration with the state indicated in paragraph in 9 September 23, 2022. Yes, sir. Yeah, date of registration, Mr. Chairman. Last year. 2022, last year.
3 months after the sinking.
Yes.
2 months.
Before the sinking.
Pagkatapos ng dokumento, pagkalipas lamang ng 2 buwan, kahit na brand new, lumubog. Tama ba?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Oh,
I have here the document wherein we can get all the records that.
and that document
the data.
was issued by Marina.
Correct, Mr. Chair.
Oh, Marina, what can you say about the document?
That's
Na ang
correct.
sabi niyo raw ay brand new.
Yes, sir. The ship is newly constructed. The year built was 2022. The construction certificate, as Commandant Abua said, is issued 23 September 2022, Mr. Chair.
Tama.
Did you make any due diligence to determine whether that statement made by the agent of the vessel is true or not? Or you just accept at its face value that statement made by the agent?
So in the inspection of the vessel, sir, there are conducted several surveys prior to its issuance of the construction certificate. So our marina surveyors and inspectors have already conducted 3 surveys.
Okay.
Prior
Just for
to
the
that po.
record, could you please specify or identify the names of the surveyors or the companies where they belong?
Navis. It's Engineer Jose Buban, who was the chief engineer in charge of this particular vessel, Mr. Chair, in the construction po. Towards and before it was registered.
Okay. I've been following up this issue in the newspaper and even on television. And there was a statement by our province made, the Secretary of Justice, that this is not a new vessel. What can the representative of the DOJ state insofar as this issue of brand new vessel is concerned? Attorney Vasquez.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, again, and ladies and gentlemen. The NBI is the focal investigation body in the task force that we are heading, Your Honors. And it conducted parallel investigation apart from the investigations conducted by the Marina and the Coast Guard. And to answer your question earlier, whether or not the affidavits of the crew, including the masters, were taken, yes, they were. And in the presence of their lawyers.
We are having here 3 investigations already. One investigation being conducted by the Coast Guard. Another investigation being conducted by the Marina. Another investigation being conducted by DOJ, specifically by the National Bureau of Investigation, which was also conducting a parallel investigation according to your statement.
Yes, Your Honor.
My only clarification is regard the brand new issue. Kasi ang sinasabi ni Secretary Boying in the newspaper, hindi niya yung brand new. So what is your statement?
We confirm what the good Secretary Boying Remulla mentioned, Your Honor, based on the investigation.
What is the confirmation regarding what?
It is the fact that this is not a brand new vessel. It was bought from a floating vessel in Nabotas by the owners, refurbished, and this is based on the NBI investigation. They have an affidavit of the persons who were part of that process, and the documents covering this vessel appears to be having some serious questions because it is made to appear that the construction was made allegedly based on marina documents in Bataan, but in actuality, it was constructed in Nabotas. And the documents were signed by the regional director of Marina in the, what's that? In Bicol, Your Honor. So these three variances would already show that there are serious matters that need to be explained. And as I mentioned earlier, we are now in the process of finalizing the case build-up to file the necessary criminal, civil, and administrative cases against those responsible, including responsible government employees, Your Honor, regulatory bodies.
And there was a report recently na shipyard na kumumpuni sa MT Princess Empress walang permit according to the local government of Nabotas. I don't really know which agency was remiss in its obligation. Now let's go to the insurance. We've been reading in the newspapers that the insurance muna to ha, ng Princess Empress is $1 billion. What can you say about this, Attorney Marquez?
Mr. Chair, that's not true.
It's true.
Because under the 1992 Civil Liability Convention, there are three tier of sources of compensation, Your Honor. The first is the insurance. The first level is the ship owner and its insurer, and the insurer here is the PNI Club. And the value or the amount of liability is dependent on the gross tonnage of the vessel. In this case, the gross tonnage is only 500 metric tons, Your Honor.
So what will be the coverage of the insurance?
The coverage of the insurance based on the 1992 Civil Liability Convention is 4.51 million special drawing rights or $6.30 million. If this amount is breached, in other words, if the amount of the claims against the ship owner or the insurer would be beyond this amount, the second tier of source of compensation.
The first level muna. Sa first level, ilan ang maximum that can be recovered?
Based on the convention, Your Honor, it is 4.51 million special drawing rights. That's what they call it.
451 million dollars.
Special drawing rights, or
Yes.
the equivalent of $6.3 million. That's the first tier.
$6.3 million.
Yes.
And that is the amount that can be recovered against PNI.
Based on the 1992 Civil Liability Convention.
Oh,
But that amount is not actually the total amount, because what can be determined would be the gross tonnage, Your Honor.
so what will be the gross amount?
Well, it would be dependent on the gross tonnage. DOTR Assistant Tiano can help out on that point.
Thank you, Yusek, sir. Yes, Mr. Chair, as mentioned, based on the gross tonnage of the vessel, which is 508, then the equivalent would be around $6 million as the first tier of compensation, Mr. Chair. This would be,
Compensation.
yes, Mr.
Yes.
Chair.
What about the second year of compensation?
The second tier of compensation, Mr. Chair, would amount to around 203 million SDR or around $280, Mr. Chair. Inclusive of the first tier, Mr. Chair.
So 274 million.
Around that figure, Mr. Chair.
Oh.
It changes every day po.
And what else can be recovered after 2 years?
Your Honor, based on the 1992 Civil Liabilities Convention, that's it. But under the law, the ship owner would still be liable, because we're just talking of the insurance here and the liabilities under the convention. At the end of the day, for as long as the ship owner has the means, it may be made to answer beyond these amounts.
The ship owner will be liable. Based on your investigation, does the ship owner have capacity Because we are talking here of a corporation, did you go over their financial statements, including their balance sheet, in order to determine what are their assets, which we can go after?
The DOTR would be in the best position to
Oh,
answer that,
DOTR,
Chair.
tuturuan lagi tayo.
No, Your Honor.
Um,
We have the records.
Mr. Chair, actually, they are capable because they are insured and
Hindi nga, dahan-dahan lang mo tayo, nakukompuse na rin ako. Sabi nyo, ang mare-recover, PNI, 6 million on the first year.
Opo.
Second, 280 million on the second year, less the drawings made during the first year.
Second tier, TITR. Opo.
Okay. Third, notwithstanding these amounts, which would be, which can be recovered, the ship owner could also be held liable, assuming that they have properties.
Mr. Chair, there's limitation of liability. So the liability of the ship owner is capped and the cap is the first year of compensation po.
So, ang liability lang ng owner, 6 million.
Opo, technically, Mr. Chair.
No, 6 million na, huwag na tayong technically, legally.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Ballpark, $6 million.
Opo.
Approximately 350 million pesos.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair.
Do their financial statements show that they have the capacity to pay this balance of $6 million?
Mr. Chair, if I may respond differently, the wisdom of the law is for it.
Huwag na yung wisdom of the law, ang sinasabi nyo, kayo nagsabi, after the second year, pwede pa tayong humingi ng payment from the ship owner. Is that true, Attorney Vasquez?
We can claim, Your Honor, from the second tier
You can claim against whom?
against the IOPC, the International Oil Pollution Compensation Fund.
Yung muna sa ship owner. Ang tanong ko lamang, yung ba ship owner ay may liability, notwithstanding that the ship is covered, that the vessel is covered by insurance? Yes or no? Ang sabi mo, pwede.
Strictly, we quote, Your Honor, but the problem is the law itself limits the liability of the ship owner up to that amount.
O nga, anong amount?
The 6 million, Your
Kaya
Honor,
nga,
per
6
convention.
million.
Yes,
Yung 6 million to be paid or to be drawn against PNI insurance.
correct, Your Honor.
So, pag nakapag-draw na ng 6 million, may liability ba ang ship owner? O wala na?
Based on the convention, no more, Your Honor, but under other laws,
Oh,
it could be explored, Your Honor.
eh, what
Because
can be explored so that the public will know, especially we have the presence of the mayor.
yes, because the oil pollution compensation fund would still have
Hindi,
the
yung sa owner
200
lang
million.
muna tayo ng vessel. Owner of the vessel, wala na.
The owner of the vessel, they are bound to pay based on the insurance. Because they have a coverage of 6 million
So,
US
ang
dollar.
babayaran ng owner of the vessel, the 6 million.
Yes, strictly, Your
And
Honor.
it will be paid by the insurer or by the ship owner.
The insurer.
O kaya nga, eh di wala babayaran na ang ship owner.
Strictly, yes, Your Honor. But
No, we are talking about the law. Kung
yes,
sino magbabayad, o wala na.
yes, the insurer, Your Honor. Based on the present scheme of compensation under the laws, Your Honor, and the convention.
But legally, it will not prevent those persons who were damaged by the oil spill to file a civil or criminal case against the ship owner.
Well, in my former life as an active litigator, it can be done, Your Honor. Something could be filed like that. But again, the ship owner can raise that law that grants them some kind of protection, limiting their liability. In maritime laws, Your Honor, the ship owner can even waive liability on the value of the vessel itself by abandoning it as the source of claims on all the claims in respect to a maritime industry.
That's the
disaster.
reason why we are confused, including the public, especially those persons who have been damaged of this oil spill, not to mention the marine products, which have been greatly affected by this oil spill. So, in short, certificate of public convenience, ano gagawin natin ngayon? Nag-i-issue Marina. Ang sabi naman ng PCGG, nag-i-issue kayo ng certificate of public convenience, hindi niyo naman binibigyan ng kopya ang PCGG, ang Philippine Coast Guard. Correct? Or is that correct? No, Philippine Coast Guard. Hindi kayo binibigyan officially ng copy ng Marina ng Certificate of Public Convenience issued by them, including decisions as a matter of procedure.
In practice, sir, only the ship representative present their
Hindi
documents
kayo
before.
binibigyan
Yes,
officially.
sir. Yes, sir.
Ang nagbibigay na lang sa inyo, representative ng ship owner.
Ship owners
And
representative.
you don't have any means to determine whether the documents presented are genuine or not. And that is why you are invoking that Marina was regular in the performance of its duties, kaya ina-accept nyo at its face value lahat ng dokumentong binibigay sa inyo. Tama?
Yes, sir, Honor.
Oh, yun naman Marina at PCGG. With the modern means, pwede kayo mag-email, pwede kayong mag-viper. Ito ang inisyu naming Certificate of Public Convenience. Most especially when it comes to issues like this, mahirap ba naman yun? I think the OTR, magawa naman kayo ng policy. Simple lamang kami, email lahat kami sa communications. Kayo, hindi nyo ma-use yung through email ang Certificate of Public Convenience from Marina to Philippine Coast Guard. Kaya yan, puro falsification tayo para makatakbo sa dagat.
If I may, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair.
Alin? Oh,
Ito yung decision na may realize.
okay.
Can we ask who is Filipino?
Sino tong ano?
The one who certifies the decision.
The Feliciano Tira Jr. Just a moment, Marina. Do you know Engineer Mark Anthony Pascua?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Director.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Was he officially connected before with Marina?
He is officially connected even up to now. He is the regional director of Marina NCR po.
What about Feliciano Tira Jr.? Tira.
He used to be connected with Marina, but he has retired and has actually passed away po.
When did he retire?
He retired in 2021.
What
and,
month?
I cannot say today, sir, what month, but he has passed away late 2022.
And why is it that Engineer Mark Anthony Pascua, his signature does not appear in this decision?
That decision, sir, was not issued by Marina because there was no procedure for the undergone by the applicant RTC.
Lang tayo, Panyera. You're a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
O nakalagay rito, by authority of the Marina Administrator, pursuant to Administrative Order number 11-14, dated August 22, 2014, Engineer Mark Anthony Pascua, Director, Franchising Service.
Engineer Mark Anthony Pascua, Your Honor, is not the director of the franchising service.
So madaling sabi, wala tong decision na to.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Peke.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Pira naman. Coast Guard, bakit nyo naman tinanggap? Walang pirma tong Mark Anthony Pascua. Above his typewritten name. Di ba ang kopya nyo, mayroong pirma?
Mr. Chair, can I give the floor to the District Commander of NCR because he is in favor for the finding out of the authenticity and validity of the presented documents before our clearing units in the Coast Guard. May I request Rear Admiral Cornelio, sir, who knows the details about this?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. What you have is a Xerox copy, but if you will take in possession a clearer version of that decision, it appears that there's a what you call this a signature, which appears to be the signature of Engineer Pascua.
Alam mo, I was a practicing lawyer for 22 years. Whenever I'm confronted with a Xerox copy of the document, that Xerox copy actually represents what is the original, kaparehong-kapareho. Dito, bakit walang pirma rito kung mayroong pirma yun sa inyo?
Sir, Mr. Chair, will provide you a clear copy of that decision, sir.
Can I see right now?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Saan ba kinuha to?
Mr. Chair.
This document was submitted by the Philippine Coast Guard. Ah, are you submitting falsified documents to us?
No, sir, that is the
This is
decision of the
from,
Marine.
this
yes.
document came from General Abu.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, pero walang pirma.
But those are that is the decision submitted by 3 agents. To us.
Yung sinubmit ng tatlong agents, meron bang pirma?
We are checking, sir, but
PCG, ngayon lang kayo nag-check. Ngayon lang tayo mag-check. Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, we will show you a clear copy of the decision.
So nung pinalayag nyo PCG ang Empress, hindi nyo ho na double check. Ngayon pa lang ho tayo mag-check.
Okay. Another question while you are checking. According to attorney, what's the name of the female lawyer?
Attorney Aledo, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Feliciano Tira Jr. retired in 2021.
I have to check that date, sir, with our HR, but as what we know today is that he has already passed away.
Kailan namatay?
I think it was December 2021, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Oh, you look
But
at
we
this
will
document.
give you the exact date later
Oh,
on.
you look at this document. It was certified by Feliciano Tira Jr. on November 21, 2022. Anto, reincarnation?
He could not have certified it, Mr. Chair,
That's
because
what
he
kaya nga,
retired and passed
falsified
away.
documents ang nakikita namin ngayon. Oh, you go over this.
We maintain, sir, that we have not issued a CPC decision for the amendment of the CPC of RDC real, sir.
Okay, what is your policy, Marina, as well as Philippine Coast Guard? If falsified documents have been presented, what do you do?
So under our rules, sir, our existing rules, the ship owner is may be held liable for presentation of any falsified or spurious document, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, a question for Marina, but is there a pending case filed by the ship owner? Because the title of the case is second amendment of the certificate of public convenience. There is a case pending before the Marina?
The RDC, sir, has an original CPC. It has a company CPC, and that is valid. However, each addition to the fleet means a permanent addition of ship to the company CPC necessitates a CPC amendment. In this particular case, there was no CPC amendment, although there was already submission of documents, but they were not complete yet. So the procedure for the amendment could not push through, Mr. Chair, sir. Thank you.
All right, so that confirms that this decision that was furnished to us is falsified.
We did not issue the document, sir.
All right.
Mr. Chair, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Yes,
Madam Chair,
Representative Brosas, go ahead.
makakatulong kung pwede nating tanungin sa Marina kung ilang beses nag-sail or sa PCG, ilang beses ang voyages nitong MT Princess para malaman natin, Madam Chair, Mr. Chair.
PCG.
Yes, Madam Chair. So far, Madam Chair, we are on the process of conducting investigation as to the number of voyages this vessel has gone through. And initially, the information was the vessel have been on voyage between 17 to 19 voyages. And based on the affidavits presented by the different ship agents, they have manifested on record and submitted before the Coast Guard with their proper signature that they have submitted all the necessary statutory safety documents as basis of our people clearing the vessel.
Just for the record, who is the head of Marina right now?
Our administrator, Attorney Hernani Fabia. Mr. Chair, he is here now po with us.
Andiyan pala eh. Oh, you better sit in front, administrator. Because I think you are the most competent person to answer the questions coming from the members of the House, being the head of the agency.
Madam Chair, hindi ko lang maintindihan kasi may 17 to 19 voyages, tapos walang CPC, tapos falsified yung mga documents. Tapos sinasabi natin na bakit merong ganito? Bakit may 17 to 19 voyages, hindi lang ito incompetency. Grabe ito. Madam Chair, Mr. Chair, we have to dig deep into this, no? Kung nag-allow tayo ng mga tanker to sail, baka nga hindi lang itong tanker na ito ang may problema, no? We should really know kung ano yung nangyayari doon. Bakit nakaka-allow ng ganitong mga voyages? Tapos ngayon nagkakaproblema, saka lang natin nalalaman na ito na pala. Tapos ang laki-laki pa nung inabot nito, no, na damage. Tapos ngayon nag-uusap tayo, Madam Chair, Mr. Chair, gusto ko lang sabihin, no, yung paano na yung pondo na ginagamit para sa panglinis, ano ang ginagawa ngayon na kompensasyon para sa ating mga mamamayan, sa pangisdaan, sa bakawan, sa bahura, sa baybayin. Madam Chair, we have kasi before, no, we have this we filed a House Resolution number 869 which seeks to investigate the effects of the oil spill on the environment and the Verde Island Passage para po sa mga livelihood ng mga fisher folks natin sa local production of fish. Alam ko po medyo technical ngayon yung pinag-uusapan natin, pero at the end of the day, ang gusto naming sabihin, napakalaki ng damage na ginawa nito. Tapos ngayon ang pinag-uusapan natin, bakit napayagan tong MT Princess? And Madam Chair, bakit wala dito yung may-ari ng MT Princess? We are investigating yung, 'di ba? Hindi po pwede na iniimbestigahan natin, wala dito at hindi natin matanong. Madam Chair, Mr. Chair. First, wala po dito, no? Kailangan natin yan matanong sila kung ano yung ano. And I kept on hearing yung SL Harbor Bulk Terminal Corporation. Baka rin, Madam Chair, we need to ask yung representative ng SL Harbor Bulk Terminal Corporation. Yan. And I heard, no, may allegation na subsidiary ito of the San Miguel Shipping and Light Rage Corporation, ano? So gusto rin natin matanong 'yon. Baka Madam Chair, if it is possible to ask at kumpletuhin natin yung ating mga resource persons dito for us to be able to know kung ano talaga o maimbestigahan talaga natin ng mabuti at makasagot sa atin yung mga actual na people involved.
In short, what is the pleasure of our distinguished colleague?
Yes, Madam Chair, for the next
Do you have any
hearing.
motion?
Yes, my motion, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, is to ask ang lahat ng mga resource persons involved to be present physically, Madam Chair, if possible, really, physically, makapunta sila dito at matanong natin sila ng diretso, Madam Chair.
Second, Mr. Chairman, Madam Chair.
So in short, we shall require the presence of the owner of the vessel. Number two, the 3 persons who have executed affidavits and who actually presented falsified documents before the Philippine Coast Guard. Number 3, Engineer Mark Anthony P. Pasqua for the purpose of confirming the decision or not. And of course, we cannot ask the presence of Feliciano Tira Jr., but a certification from your personnel, when did he retire? And when did he die, if you know? Copy. And this was
Mr. Chair, aside from the decision and presenting.
Hindi, ito muna decision. You assume na tama to, genuine to, kahit na walang pirma si Engineer Mark Anthony Pasqua.
Well, the Xerox copy that other substation has, although it's Xerox, shows that it appears they have the signature of Engineer Pasqua.
Okay, you
allegedly.
give us a copy.
Yes, Your Honor.
When can you give us?
I will check, Your Honor, before we will check momentarily if we have a clear copy of that, sir.
Oh, hindi kayo sigurado na may kopya kayo ngayon.
The one presented. Sir, we have, sir.
Oh, kaya.
Yes.
Pagbigay nyo na sa amin.
Sir, aside from there, if I may, sir,
No,
Aside-
okay, dito lang tayo. Ano pa yung ibang dokumento na gusto mo sabihin?
aside from the submission of the documents, nag-execute din po yung kapitan ng Master Declaration of Safe Departure, wherein the first box, he certifies that the completeness and validity of ship's safety certificates and documents.
Okay, so in short, the ship captain is not around, he is only on Zoom. We will also require his presence physically at the next scheduled hearing, Captain Lawrence Bongalos. Okay?
Yes, sir. In addition, Mr. Honor, Mr. Chair, last 20 March, I issued a subpoena and subpoena duces tecum requiring the ship owner, president and manager to submit original or certified true copies of all the documents, to include the Marina decision dated
Okay, what
16
happened to that subpoena issued by you? Was there compliance? None.
They replied a letter extending 5 days extension. Then I replied, giving them 31 March as their deadline. After submitting documents, among all the documents submitted, wala po yung Marina decision na hinahanap natin.
So sa madaling sabi, wala yung dokumentong hinihingi mo.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so who was the person to whom did you address that communication?
Mr. Raimundo Cabial, the president of RDC.
Okay, we require also the presence of Mr. Raimundo. Cabial.
Comsec, please take note. So Admiral, ibig sabihin yung mga sinasabi niyo pong papeles no, na pinipresent niyo po dito sa ating committee hearing ay puro photocopy po. Nakita niyo po ba yung original copy or copies nung mga sinasabi niyo pong certificates or documents na pinresent po sa inyo kaya pinayagan niyo po at pinaniwalaan niyo na yung itong Empress ay valid na maglayag?
Among the 21 documents that we required, 3 hindi sila kapag-present ng CTC or original documents, one of which is the Marina decision, ma'am.
So walang original.
No original. Well, according to your sheetmate, the one at your left, based on your information, ilang beses naglaot kung Empress?
Initially, sir, the information given to us, because this is still in the process of investigation, around 17 to 19 voyages, sir.
Okay. That information was given by whom?
Actually, it's still with the NCR, sir, Coast Guard, with Rear Admiral Cornelio, who is the ground commander.
And so far as this 17 or 19 times na nag-sail, was there already a certificate of public convenience?
Again, Your Honor, as mentioned earlier by the commandant, the document certified by the different ship agents with so many documents that includes CPC and its amendment with the decision, Your Honor.
Occasion of everybody. Tiwi bang maglalayag, kinakailangan may sasabit na dokumento? Or is it a one-time submission?
Every time the ship departs, they have to present documents, statutory documents.
So kung 17 o 18 o 19 at nagsasabit ng dokumento at yung mga dokumentong isinasubmit ay falsified, then that will be 17 counts or 18 counts of falsification. Will that be a correct legal assumption, Yusek Vasquez?
On that point, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Chair. Just a few clarification, and also would like to, because we've been discussing what we're discussing now are actually the actions being taken after the damage has been done. So this representation would like to ask if there's any preventive measures being offered by our national government. Is there anybody among our distinguished research persons who can describe or at least explain the national policy framework designed to prevent or mitigate environmental and socioeconomic risk from oil spillage? Is there anybody who could explain this, especially your institutional arrangements with the different agencies?
Your Honor, may I refer to our Commander of Marine Environmental Protection Command, who is in charge of this, Vice Admiral Patrimonio, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Your Honor. We have the National Oil Spill Contingency Plan, Mr. Chair, Your Honor, and this National Oil Spill Contingency Plan was agreed and presented to by all concerned agencies and department of the government, and it includes all strategies on how to mitigate, contain, and recover the oil pollution once it spills at sea. And we could give you a copy of this document, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Specifically, can you please explain to us what arrangement or institutionalized arrangements you're doing with the other agencies concerned? Because I can see that there are only two agencies here present, Marina and PCG, and it seems you're singing different tunes. Is there any provision in the national framework regarding this arrangements to different institutions?
The different institutions includes the DNR, the DOH, the local government units, the DSWD, all other oil companies that are in operating in the Philippines, and identified oil spill responders, both local and international, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Because, Madam Chair, I'm just concerned by the different agencies have different declarations when it comes to this investigation. And also, Madam Chair, we've been discussing the PPP principle here, the polluters pay principle. And we know it's very vital for the solution of this problem. But of course, even if what amount of money we can collect from the insurances, it can never revive the destroyed ecology. So it's very urgent that I think we should have our own liability framework provided by our legislators. And since I'm a neophyte in Congress, Madam Chair, may I ask if we already have a preventive legislation for the transport of hazardous and volatile materials like the diesel? Because if there's no available or existing legislation for this, I think it's about time that we do it.
Yes. There's a pending bill po, Representative Hagedorn, filed by Representative Kiko Benitez. So maybe we can hear about it if you would like, sir. Kasi Rep Kiko, if wala kasi gusto ni Kong Hagedorn to make one, so maybe we can hear a little bit of that.
So in addition, Mr. Chair, sorry.
Yeah.
In addition, we've been discussing also the International Convention on Liabilities, Civil Liabilities for Oil Spillage Damage.
Yes.
But it seems we still don't have a national law that would cover this. There's already.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, it's RA 9483 po.
Since we have the RA 9483, maybe we can revisit the bill so as to check if everything's still updated or relevant at this point.
Our only concern, Madam Chair, is, our marine ecology had suffered tremendously because of this oil spillages, and it can never be revived. But the problem is, up to now, we always end up with investigation, but no action after this. So if we can provide legislation that would expressly provide for these solutions to these problems, preventive and not only a problem.
Thank you, Representative Hagedorn.
Considering the manifestation of Congressman Hagedorn, let us request, number one, the concerned agencies, Philippine Coast Guard, Marina, DOJ, as well as the Department of Transportation, to submit to us their proposals regarding the possible preventive measures which we can adopt in order to prevent similar incidents in the future. And second, what remedial measures would be necessary considering the oil spill or the damage that has been done. And I know for a fact that there are so many non-governmental organizations who are present in this committee hearing, like Oceana. We also request them to inform this committee what are the possible preventive and remedial measures which we can take in order to prevent similar incidents in the future, considering that we have seen the damage to the marine life and of course to the people of Mindoro whose livelihood was destroyed on account of this oil spill. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to ask a few questions also. So first, siguro with Marina, ang question ko is the MT Princess Empress compliant under the parameters? Kasi turuan tayo ng turuan eh. Under the standards of seaworthiness for tanker vessels. Ano talaga istorya nito? May ano ba ito? Meron bang CPC talaga? Wala. Bakit nakabiyahe ng 17 hanggang 19 na beses? Eh samantalang every time na babiyahe pala ito, nagbibigay ng ganong CPC. Hindi ba ano ng Marina yan? Dapat Marina ang sumagot yan?
Sorry, Mr. Chair. Sorry, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair. Maybe if the committee would permit, the risk that we might run into if we address that question is it might prejudice the case build-up being undertaken by other agencies po. If we say that the vessel was seaworthy, then it will be a defense that can be availed of by the ship owners, Mr. Chair. That's just a suggestion po.
Panyero, I have been in Congress. This is my fifth term in Congress. Even sub-judicial rule is not applicable to us. Even if there is a case pending in the Supreme Court, we can conduct investigation. At pwede nga yung mga affidavit, ibigay nyo sa amin. Pagkatapos ngayon, you cannot answer the question on the ground that it will prejudice your investigation. Why?
I submit, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
You better ask your legal whether or not you have the right to withhold any information regarding any question by members of the Congress. You have to remember that what we are doing is a constitutional mandate in aid of legislation provided for under the Constitution, and that's the reason even the sub-judicial rule is not applicable to us. That's very clear.
Mr. Chair.
Oh yes,
so kung gano'n ang posisyon nyo, until when are we going to wait for the results of the investigation? Meron ba tayong timeline dito? Kasi kung wala na namang mangyayari, sayang lang ang oras natin lahat. Yes.
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, the DOJ will certainly file cases. That's for sure. It's just a matter of time. The only reason why we have not filed cases as of now is the decision, the conscious decision taken by the task force to ensure that the cleanup and the retrieval operations be done first, because that is more important far more than going after those people who are responsible in the issuance of a non-existent, allowing a vessel with a non-existent CPC for voyaging 18 times, or saying that the vessel is brand new when evidence would show that it's not, and the fact that it was just renamed after refurbished in Nabotas, and it's made to appear on record that it's in Bataan and signed off by
Bicol.
somebody from Bicol. All of these circumstances, Your Honors, are being seriously undertaken by the DOJ, and we are happy to. There's a bright light to this actually, because the insurance, the PNI Club already sent us a letter confirming the readiness and the fact that a contract was already granted to the Salvor Corporation that will siphon off the remaining industrial fuel oil that is still remains on the hold of that sunken vessel. It's not true that based on the reports given us by the PCG, there are 5 holes, there are 5 tanks inside the tanker. That there are 3 areas there that appeared to be already the fuel oil had already leaked out, but 2 remain with their hold fully intact. So that means to say that even the report that they have around 78 to 80% cleanup operations, that has to be contextualized, because there still remains a lot of oil that is down there, 400 meters down. So unless the retrieval operations be undertaken forthwith, we are still depending our fortune on to the elements. That is the reason why we focus on the retrieval, and we are happy to say that the retrieval operations would be commencing this 18 of July, Your Honor. Of June.
Just a clarification. Yusek, will the retrieval operations have any legal significance or will have any relation insofar as the filing of criminal cases are concerned?
Certainly not, Your Honor.
Certainly not.
Yes.
In other words, you can file already the criminal cases even if the retrieval operations have not yet been completed.
Right.
Okay. And second, being in the DOJ, you will be filing the case not before the regular courts, but merely before the prosecutor's office.
Correct, Your Honor.
And therefore, any evidence which might come out later on, you can always include in the records for the preliminary investigation as part of your additional statements.
That's exactly what the case build-up rule that the good secretary signed last March 31 is all about.
Tinatanong lang natin, retrieval operations.
Yes.
Kasi ang sabi mo, ayaw nyo pa mag-file ng cases because the retrieval operations have not yet been completed.
No. Actually, Your Honor, we just wanted the insurance corporation, the insurance company, PNI, to commit, because we cannot go after filing cases when we know that there's a powder keg that's about to explode down there still. That's why the cleanup operations are still being undertaken.
But the PNI will be excluded from the criminal case.
I would not say that, Your Honor. I would not say that. We are still on the case
So
build-up.
it's possible that insofar as we are concerned and even the public, it's possible that PNI, the insurance company, will be included in the criminal case.
If the evidence would so show, then we go after anyone. No one will be spared,
So
Your Honor.
how long can we expect before we can see that criminal cases had already been filed?
We have
Because
already.
it took place in February.
Yes, Your Honor. As I said, the NBI has had a parallel investigation on this. They have reports as well. That's why I said that they had the statements of the crew,
Kailan
including
ang
the
estimate
master.
nyo? Yun
Yes.
lamang tayo.
Timetable, Your Honor. We already instructed the team to prepare the complaints. Maybe 2 weeks would be max. There should be something that's gonna.
2 weeks. So
Yes.
we will expect in 2 weeks' time.
Yes.
And that statement was rendered under oath, Panyero.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Because we have the report, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, may I continue? Well, okay, with that. So anyway, sa DSWD, they've been doing a commendable response yung sa Mindoro, no? Sa mga pagbibigay. I would like to thank the good secretary and the SWD Mimaropa, specifically yung RD Reynoso, no, of Oriental Mindoro SWAT team. Lahat ng assistance binigay nila, pero recently nagprotesta yung mga taga Mindoro about doon sa sardines ba yun o sa tuna na ibinibigay. Hindi ko alam kung saan yun. Ano bang pangalan ng ano? May dala rito yung mga kasama ko eh. And I think, I believe, inaccept ito ng ano, inaccept ng ano, na talaga may problema.
Sir.
Dalawa pala yan. Merong gawa sa Bulacan at merong gawa saan yung isa? Sa Quezon. Yun yata ang sa Quezon, yun yata ang hindi, yun ba? Tama ba? Hindi makain. Tapos yung Bulacan, mukhang okay naman. So, meron bang tiga DSWD rito?
Yes, sir.
Sige. Pwede
If I
pa.
may be acknowledged, Madam
Yes.
Chair. Yes.
Go ahead,
Ah,
ASEC.
Yes po. Sir, with regards to the concern, the name of the tuna that is currently being being sampled po is Ocean's Best Tuna. And currently, we have already submitted samples to the FDA to be checked for contamination, sir. And in all areas po that we got complaints, we got samples to check whether these are contaminated samples po. Mr. Chair, sir, since we are undergoing or waiting for the result of the contamination test, I would suggest that those tuna po should not be tasted muna, sir. Huwag niyo po munang titikman kasi we are waiting for the result from the FDA kung contaminated po, sir. Opo, kasi po baka tikman niyo, sir. Baka po tikman niyo, sir. Yes.
Ano sabi mo, Pinera?
Huwag pero titikman.
Sir, huwag niyo muna pong titikman kasi
Hindi ko, hindi lamang tigay mo.
sir, wag muna, sir, because we are waiting for the result from the FDA, sir, if those are contaminated,
Eh,
sir.
bakit hindi nyo muna pinarecall?
Sir, we already did that po. The moment that the news broke out, we already gave a memo to all the field officers of the DSWD not to remove muna po ang Ocean's Best Tuna, sir.
Bigyan ko lang kita ng example. I was with the LGU. Basta bibili kami ng mga bigas, tuna, sardinas, tinitingnan muna namin bago namin i-distribute. And that should be the policy. Most especially the secretary happens to be a very good mayor. Hindi yung pag may nag-complain na lamang. The injury has been done kung may food poisoning. That's my only concern. O yan, pwede kainin yan.
Pwede bang buksan yung dalawa? Titingnan na natin yung itsura. Para malaman lang yung itsura.
Pwede pong buksan. Dalawa po kasi.
Dalawa, isang Bulacan at saka
Isang blue at saka isang ano yan. Dalawa yan.
alin ang Bulacan dyan? Yung blue o yung...
Yung dala natin.
Yan ang Bulacan. Yun ang ano isa? Quezon. Sige, buksan nga natin pareho. Tigisa.
Bulukan. Pwede natin i-check parehas.
Kasi pagbuksan din siya.
Parehas.
Buksan mo pareho. Para titingnan natin yung itsura. Mr. Chair, while waiting, pwede bang matanong din yung BIFAR? Yung BIFAR. Oo. O kasi doon sa amin sa probinsya, recently, pinagbigyan na yung 7 bayan na pwede nang mangisda. Oo. Ano ba ang posisyon ng BIFAR dito? Kasi di ba dapat BIFAR ang nagdideklara nito kung okay, hindi naman dapat gobernador. Di ba? Hindi, sa totoo lang. Di ba? Bakit anong pakialam ng gobernador? Marunong ba siya? Alam ba niya Tindihan ba niya? Technical yan Oh. Pati sa health. Alam mo, ang problema namin ganito. Yung secretary mismo ng nag-swimming doon, nag-diving, wala namang nakita. Yung BIFAR, sabi nila clear, 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 clear. O ngayon, binawi nila bigla. Sabi nila, sabi ng gobernador, may tama yung mga binagbawalan yung mga nagsiswimming. Only to find out, ngayon, pinabayaan na mag. Bakit ganon? Hindi ko naman maintindihan yata yun. Kahit saan tingnan. So,
Where is the representative of BIFAR?
Yes, sir.
What's your answer?
Yes, sir. Madam, Mr. Chair, and to Honorable Congressman, especially to Honorable Congressman O'Malley of Oriental Mindoro. Well, yes, it is true that yesterday the provincial government already lifted the fishing ban for the 7 municipalities of Oriental Mindoro. No? And for the part of BIFAR, what we can say is that our decision or our recommendations were based on water and fish sample analysis. And we have at least 4 sampling frequencies or from sampling dates that were the basis for the results. And I think this is one of the considerations of this has been used by the provincial government in coming up with the decision, Mr. Chair.
thank you, Mr. Chair. Ang question ko lang, bakit nung magkakahiring ngayon, biglang pwede na mangisda? Magkakahiring ngayon, bakit kahapon biglang nilift yung yun ang hindi ko maintindihan. Kasi lahat ng result, sinasabi nyo, dinadala pa sa Maynila, wala pala kayong pang test niyan. Dinadala pa kung saan para maano lang. So, why so sudden? Bigla na lang maghihiring ngayon, bigla na lang nawala yung bigla na lang pwede na mangisda. Ano yun? Kung pwede na mangisda, pwede na rin mag-swimming pala.
Mr. Chair, I have with me right now our Chief of the National Fisheries Laboratory Division. And they are the one in charge of the fish and water sampling analysis. So if I may be requested or permitted, Mr. Chair, we will give her the microphone for the answer to the question. Thank you.
Sir, good morning po to our chair and also to regarding the monitoring of the water and fish at Mimaropa, especially those affected area. Sir, ang BIFAR po ay nag-conduct ng we have a sampling plan which started po yon nung nagkaroon ng oil spill. And weekly po, sir, ang sampling na ginawa ng BIFAR. So yung sa oil and grease, sa water analysis po, yan po ay lumalabas weekly. And then ang analysis po na ginagawa natin sa isda ay yung PAH. Yun po yung nag-accumulate, bioaccumulate dun sa isda as an effect of possible exposure po ng fish doon sa fuel. And sir, nagkataon lang po siguro yon, but whenever results of analysis ay lumalabas, nare-release po yan, ay we provided the report to our regional counterpart. And then sila po yung nagbibigay ng information, especially po doon sa local government unit, noong status po ng regarding safety ng isda at saka sa tubig. So, yun po yung ginagawa ng BIFAR. Not necessarily po siguro na yung kahapon, kasi po nung lumabas ang result ay Friday, that was Friday, and then binigay po namin sa Mimaropa ng Saturday. Yun po yung last result po ng analysis ng BIFAR.
Hindi, ganito na lang.
Just a
Ganito.
follow-up lang ha.
Sige, sige.
Ang sinasabi nyo, ang testing nyo sa tubig,
At saka sir sa fish.
oh, may nagsample na ba kayo ng isda na nahuli nyo at kinain nyo? Kasi yun ang nangyayari pag may question sa tahong. Yung aming gobernador, kakain ng tahong, ipakikita, safe na ang tahong sa lalawigan ng Cavite. Sa Cebu naman, pag ASF, makikita mo si Governor Garcia, kinakain yung baboy. Eh kayo naman, wala ka naman kayong ginawa naman sa public. Paano makukumbinsi?
Si sir.
Oh, you make it a public declaration na nakita ng publiko, nang huli kayo ng isda, kinain nyo, safe. Wala.
Mr. Chair, for now, wala pa po. But that has been my
Kaya
recommendation.
yun ang question nila eh.
Yes, sir. That has been my recommendation.
Ipahuli nyo. Ibebenta sa amin. Pagkatapos magkakaroon ng damage sa amin, sasabihin nyo, hindi isda, ang cost niyan. Iba? Eh siyempre, nagtataka publiko. You should set the example. Sabihin ko kay Secretary Loizaga, ma'am, mas mabuti ho, kayo ang kumain ng isdang aming huliin in the presence of Governor Umali para makita nila walang pagpapalit ng sample ng isda. That's the way to convince the people.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I recommended and mentioned it actually kay Governor Dolor. Gawin po natin.
Dapat sa secretary. Sa DNR.
Hindi yun ang kinain niya eh.
O iba raw ang kinain. Ha?
Anyway.
Chair, thank you so much po. May question lang po ako. Okay lang po ba ako magtanong sa kanila?
Sige, sige.
Kasi for the longest time po, si Paula may fish kill po. Nandito nga kasama namin yung MAU ko. Until today po, wala po kaming result na nakukuha from BIFAR kung bakit namatay yung fish sa amin sa Paula. So isa po talaga sa question ko yon. Just in case na pabalikin niyo po kami, at least alam namin na baka yun talaga may problema dahil sa oil spill. So yun po yung question ko, BIFAR. Wala pa po. Matagal na pong kinuha yun sample pero 2 months, wala pa po kaming result.
Well, Mayor,
Yes, sir.
meron po kaming, yung Pola po is one of the major sampling sites ng amin pong, nakasama po doon sa sampling design. So, well, that's why doon po sa result is hindi po kasama yung bayan ng Pola sa na-lift na po ng mga fishing ban. No?
I know, sir. Ang
But,
question ko, sir, is nasan po yung result nung fish kill sa Pola? Kasi until now po, naghihintay po kami ng result kung paano namatay po yung isda at sa anong reason behind bakit po namatay yung isda. Meron po kami nang binigay naman po sa inyo ng MAU namin. Nauhan po. Nauhan. Opo.
Ang kadigid daw ng Pola, nahuan. Ginawan, inilip nyo.
Hindi po kasama, Mr. Chair, yung nauhan sa lifting of the ban.
Hindi pa po nalilift yung karatig na bayan ng Pola, Nauhan, and Pinamalayan.
Yung tatlo.
Gloria.
No, still 6 municipalities are still in effect ang fishing ban.
Ito ba ang 6 municipalities adjacent ang tubig?
Yes,
sa ibang
yes.
municipality?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
O paano nyo mapiprevent ang fish na lumipat doon sa
Tama. Then, malayo na po yun.
passport? Paano nyo madidetermine na yung sa isang bayan di lilipat daw sa bayan na nilip nyo na?
Well, as we have mentioned, Mr. Chair, our recommendation is based on our sampling results. So, yun po yung nakita based on laboratory. As well as organoleptic testing.
Okay. Sige, follow up. Sinasabi niyo weekly, nagte-test kayo. Pwede bang humingi na lang ng resulta ng mga test nyo at saka yung corresponding dates? Kasi talagang nakakagulat lang na for so long a time, puro ganun ang testing nyo. Tapos hindi naman namin nakikita resulta. Tapos biglang, oops, pwede na. Is this the same thing with Department of Health? Na pwede na mag-swimming o mag-declare ng ano? Kasi ngayon, unsafe yung swimming. Eh, paano mo titigilan yung Puerto Galera mag-swimming? Ngayon, pwede na ulit. Wala, Jo.
Pero hindi pwede
mangisda. Pwede mag-swimming pero bawal mag-isda. Para ang labo naman yata. No?
Yun yung question talaga namin.
So, medyo magulo.
Mr. Chair, meron po kaming kasama siguro sa seed
Mamaya,
and Fisher
ano,
Fox.
mamaya.
Pwede pong magsalita yung sa seed po.
Sige,
at Fisher
sige,
Fox.
sige.
Hello. Okay. Hello everyone. To formally introduce myself, my name is Matthew Vincent Tabilog. I'm from Protect VIP. It's actually a coalition with fisherfolk communities, labor groups, CSOs, youth, and other advocates. No? So from Protect VIP right now, kasama po namin dito, may mga fisherfolk tayo dito from Pinamalayan and also from Pola. So we have here Mr. Aldrin Villanueva and also Ms. Maricris Pabayo. So they're one of the affected fisherfolk committees in Oriental Mindoro. So I would also like to ask yung sa NFRTI po, yung sa BFAR. So it was actually mentioned on April na meron kasing joint statement from DOH and DNR that 26 out of 35 water station samples in Puerto Galera did not meet the water quality standard. So what are the actual basis for you to lift this kind of fish bans in different areas, to think that Puerto Galera is also one of the tourism hotspots in Oriental Mindoro, and to think that there was also a statement by Governor Dolor saying that the coasts of Nauhan and also I think from Pola are free from benzene. And actually I would like to ask also as to what would be the results from the PAHS or the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons from the fish samples that were tested. Thank you.
Thank you. May we recognize Representative Manuel? Or the reply of, oh yeah, go ahead, sir. BFAR.
Madam Chair, hindi po sa LGU Bungabong po ako. Councilor Mike Malaluan po from LGU Bungabong. I-add ko lang din po yung tungkol dun sa water sampling. Dahil noong kasagsagan po na malapit po sa amin yung oil spill, nagre-report po kami na may mga fish kill sa amin. Tapos dahil wala pong bumababang ano ba yung gagawin, sinubukan po pakainin nung barangay tanod po namin yung isda na namatay sa coastline dun sa aso para maipaliwanag sa mga tao na hazardous yung isda na nahuli. So sa madaling salita po, namatay si aso dun sa isda. So nag-request po kami ng testing, nga lang po ay after few weeks po saka lang po pumunta ay wala na po yung carcass, hindi po nagkaroon ng water testing dun sa aming ano po sa area po. Salamat po.
Thank you, Councilor. Before reply or answer to the query, may we recognize Honorable Ralph Tulfo of the Second District.
Aquatic resources intended for sustenance and commercial fishing. Second is for boating, fishing, or similar activities, and marshy or mangrove areas declared as fish and wildlife sanctuaries. Now, yun pong pagdating sa human activities like swimming, hindi po kami ang nag-a-analyze ng water para doon. It is, I think, the concern of DOH or DNR. So, saying that, no, ang sinasabi po namin is yung water analysis namin na nakita po is already meet the standard for fishing activities.
So madaling sabi, it's possible. Katulad na sinabi nyo, fishing pwede, hindi pwede, pero swimming pwede based on DNR or DOH.
I think po, it's the other way around. Pwede na po sa fishing, which is based on our results in some municipalities. But iba po kasi yung areas. No?
Sabi nyo, hindi pwede fishing, pero pwede swimming.
We cannot say that about swimming. It's
No,
not
what's
our
happening
concern.
in the field? Is it possible na nangyayari? Although hindi kayo nagde-declare kung sino ang pwede, kung pwede man lumangoy ang tao, hindi.
Oh. Because the water sampling
Hindi nga.
or
Kaya nga, gano'n ang nangyayari. Pag sinabi ng DOH, pwede na swimming, at sinabi nyo naman, hindi pa pwede ang fishing, that happens. I'm just following up your statement. Nasabi mo, ang isda, kayo ang may jurisdiction. Sa swimming naman, DOH at saka DNR. Kaya pag sinabi ng DOH at saka DNR, pwede swimming. Pero pwede rin sabihin nyo, hindi naman pwede ang fishing. Because we want to have some remedial legislation if necessary. Kasi hindi ko makita ang point. Pwedeng lumangoy ang tao, pero hindi pwedeng mangisda.
Opo, Doc Sonia, you please.
Sir, kasi yung concern ng swimming is just the water. Meron po kasi kaming additional analysis.
Hindi nga, kaya nga, yun lang ang sinasabi natin. Pwedeng declare na pwede ang swimming, pero hindi pwedeng manghuli ng isda.
Opo, sir.
Okay.
Oh,
Hindi pwede.
yes, sir. Because kung ang fish po, sir, kung ang analysis po,
Hindi, tandaan lang tayo, wag na yung analysis nyo. Assuming that you made the analysis, pwede nyo sabihin, hindi pwedeng mangisda based on your analysis. Is that correct?
sir, ang primary po
Hindi
namin
nga,
safety
kayo
po
na nga.
ng fish, sir, kaya kailangan talaga.
Hindi nga,
complying.
kaya nga, ang analysis nyo, hindi pwedeng manghuli ng isda. We have to follow that. Yes or no? Because you are the appropriate agency of the government.
Yes, sir, for the
Okay.
fishing activity.
Pag sinabi naman ng DNR, pwedeng lumangoy, ang tao, pwede mag-swimming, okay lang yon.
Sir,
Yes or no? Kasi hindi nyo jurisdiction ang paglangoy.
hindi,
O
sir,
pwede nyo rin ipagbawal ang paglangoy.
hindi, sir.
O hindi
only
nga.
fishing.
Kaya here we have one agency, BIPAR, under ba kayo ng agriculture? And there is another agency of the government, DA at saka DNR at saka DOH na pwedeng sabihin naman, pwedeng lumangoy. So we want to find out what remedial legislation is necessary because we will be a little bit confused. Yun lang naman ang point ko. This is the existing laws, right? Okay?
So, Chair, pwede ba sila kasi iba-iba yung may hawak Hindi ba sila pwede mag-usap-usap para once and for all solve lahat yung problema? Hindi yung problema ng isa ito, problema ng isang agency ito, problema na ang gulo-gulo natin. 'Di ba? Hindi ba dapat iisa lang ang Hindi ba dapat merong point person diyan o sino ang diyan sa oil spill o ikaw ang diyan. Parang yung ginagawa natin do sa
Mr. Chair, there are actually two task forces that are handling this. One is the DENR-led recovery task force, which is different from ours, and the DOJ-led task force that is meant to go after the liability aspect. I think doon ho papasok yung sinasabi mo, Mr. Congressman, yung pag-uusap-usap nila that is being headed by the DENR task force on recovery. That came about right after the visit of President Marcos to Mindoro. So I think that should be the vehicle that may be used for purposes of discussing all of this na magkakaiba yung recommendations.
Madam
Eh,
Chair, Mr. Chair.
Isa pa. Sana lang. Following what you said, hindi ba aantayin pa natin yung presidente para mag-desisyon dito? Hindi ba dapat yung DNR, nagpunta namin sa amin yung secretary, nag-diving pa, nag-swimming. Sa kanya, clear. DOT ba? Hindi, si Frasco.
Yes,
Tourism. Nagpunta sa amin. Walang joke. Okay sa kanya, pagdating doon sa, bawal. Hindi nag-uusap hindi nag-uusap-usap Mukhang may mali. Diba? Yun lang gusto ko sabihin.
Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, if I may.
Go ahead. You're from, ma'am?
Yes,
From
ma'am.
what agency, ma'am?
This is Lormelin Claudio, the Regional Executive Director of the DNR Mimaropa. The Secretary, our Secretary, Maria Antonia Yulo Loizaga, sends her apologies for not being here because of a very also important activity. But may I point out to the body that since day one, this Honorable Secretary is into this oil spill incident. And this is the reason why we are here, the RED and the Regional Director as well of Environmental Management Bureau, including our Provincial Environment and Natural Resources Officer, as well as the legal team of the DNR. So may I say this, that the agencies, government agencies had been talking also since March 1. The DNR Secretary, in fact, led the meeting the first day on March 1. The Secretary led the meeting with the PCG, with Honorable Governor Dolor, as well as the BIFAR representative and the other pertinent agencies. So from March 1, we've been talking. And so we are, the Secretary is on board to this. It is not true that the government agencies, the national government agencies are not talking. We are talking to each other and we are coordinating closely with the local government units from the provincial level down the barangay level. In fact, we have a very long presentation here, but I know we can dispense with it. But we would like to assure that as to the water quality, Your Honors, we have 125 water quality sampling stations. And we also conducted ambient air quality sampling in strategic areas of Oriental Mindoro. We are relating whatever the result of the samplings found. For the first month, I think we did that for daily. And just imagine 125 sampling stations had been sampled just to ensure that that public health as well as the environment would be mitigated. Okay, so as to the water quality that the good gentleman had asked Mr. Chair and Madam Chair about the VIP, we have sampling done. We have rapid assessment done, and we are looking at the impact of the oil spill into more than 3,000 hectares of mangroves, as well as there are 38 marine protected areas. If we talk about the marine protected areas, these are locally managed protected areas, but still the DNR is looking into this. That's why we will be providing later on the Honorable Congressman Umali of the results of this results of the water sampling, air sampling, as well as the rapid assessment, Your Honors, and we will provide this body on this. Okay, so
Thank you. So that brings me back to question ko na rin yung, is it possible na na yung Verde Island Passage between Batangas and Mindoro ay yung papunta yung sa gitna, wag nang padaanan ng tanker kasi talagang center of biodiversity sa buong mundo yan Nandyan lahat yung Pwede bang doon na lang sila sa likod sa after the sa kabila na lang para ito talaga napoprotektahan. Kung talaga
Um,
gusto natin protektahan as far as the ANR is concerned.
Yes, Madam Chair and Mr. Chair and the rest of the body, we are discussing on it, Your Honor. It's not just a DNR, it's an interagency thing. There is a body looking at that at the moment. So all these discussions are coming in right now. And we also will provide you updates on that, Your Honor.
Okay, please, thank you.
Sige, sige.
Madam Chair?
Thank you, Representative Benitez.
Yeah, sorry. I'd like to ask follow-up lang to the DNR. Tapos, sir, wag muna kayong umalis. My second question is for you. Please. Alam ko matagal na tayo nakaupo dito kaninang umaga pa, no? So, naiinip tayo ng konti. Ang first question ko lang, ma'am, actually, two questions to the DNR. The Philippine Coast Guard earlier testified that there is a national oil spill contingency plan, and that has to do with cleanup. Tama ba? Primarily. But the question of Congressman Hagedorn actually also had to do with rehabilitation subsequent. Is that part and parcel of the oil spill contingency plan?
Yes, there is.
Yes, it is.
There is a national oil spill contingency plan with a lot of national government agencies and the local government units to be involved in this, Your Honor. And in that plan, there is already what the Honorable Congressman had asked about institutional arrangement. And I think that's the reason why day one, on March 1, we already was able to identify what actions to be done, especially on containing the oil spill at the shorelines, Your Honor.
Okay, so can I ask then in this second follow-up question, given that there's a task force being headed by DNR on this aspect, right? Pagkaintindi ko dun sa kay Yusek sa dulo, do you have an estimate of how much would be required to rehabilitate and or compensate both the fisher folk and the local communities, as well as what it might cost to rehabilitate the area vis-a-vis biodiversity and its ecosystems?
For that, sir, the task force on recovery had convened twice or thrice already, and we have identified already the programs and projects that should be done to address the impact of the oil spill. As to the cost, we are still working on that, Your Honor.
Is there a rough estimate so far?
We don't have yet the
At all?
estimate of it. We could work on it, and we could provide you a copy of that
Please.
in a week's time.
Because I think hindi naman tayo matatapos today, malinaw, no? So Yusek, thank you for staying. If I may ask then, two things, no, that has kind of made me wonder, and again, it's because we are in aid of legislation here in terms of our purpose. You had mentioned, along with the DOTR, that there are two tiers of liability or compensation money that can be gotten, no? To the tune of around 286 something
Million
US dollars, correct? So the two questions are, number one, is that then the total universe of the compensation that can be put into the rehabilitation program and any kind of help and ayuda to the fisher folk, for example, who have had to suffer because of the oil spill?
Unfortunately, the answer to that, Mr. Congressman, is yes, under the 1992 Civil Liability Convention.
Okay, so my second question is, if the DNR's task force concludes that what we need is more than, let's say, whatever that amount is, 280 million, 15 billion pesos, right? Kung kulang yun, saan hahanapin? What would the DOJ suggest, or the DOTR for that matter, as a alternative source or additional source of funds kung kakapusin, no, ang penalties?
There is a great likelihood, Your Honor, that that amount may not be enough because as we speak, the DOJ-led task force also has a BIFAR and a DNR component. And the DNR, when we asked them, because when the IOPC representative was here, he asked for documentation of the claims that may be brought to the UK head office of IOPC. And at that time, it was the consensus of DNR and the other agencies, ODC and OCD,
OCD,
and the other agencies handling this, PCG and the rest, that they have classified the different areas. Number one, those directly impacted. Second, those that are affected, and those that are threatened. So different layers also of claims. That means to say that they cannot give a definitive answer as of now. But with respect to BIFAR, which handles the claims of the affected fisher folks and their families, their estimate as of April 25, when we held our last meeting, was that there is an economic loss of those affected fisher folks of in the tune of around 500 million already. And that is in respect to their computation based on an estimate of a monthly of a daily rate, something like 500 multiplied by the number of affected fisher folk and their families. So as to your question, Your Honor, as to who would bear the burden of rehabilitation, because the different layers again of expenses. First, the cleanup, second, the retrieval, and the third would be the restoration or the rehabilitation of the affected environment and Philippines. Unfortunately, it would again be our government that would have to answer for that. But of course, as the intimated earlier by Congressman Barsaga, if there's a possibility of still going after the ship owner, in my former life, I answered him, it could still be done, even if there could be that defense that may be raised by the ship owner that their liability is limited by the 1992 Civil Liabilities Convention and under principles of maritime law, where we have that concept of abandonment, whereby a owner of a ship that sinks can just abandon his claim on the ship and the cargo, and that would be the limit of his liability. Perhaps those are the areas that we have to consider on a legislative point, and the fact that had we signed the supplemental fund protocol, we would really be looking at a $101 billion dollars available funding for purposes of rehabilitation of the environmental resources that are severely impacted
So
and affected.
can I ask why we didn't sign the supplemental?
Do
you know, or are you?
I'm not privy to that.
You're not privy to
You're
that.
not
So then
privy.
my next question will be, would the DOJ now suggest that new legislation be drafted to ensure that we do sign the supplemental protocols?
Yes, amongst others, other suggestions that we will be including in our recommendations that was required of us by Chairman PD Barsaga, we will be including in there this request that that the Philippines will sign the supplemental fund protocol. Anyway, the contributions would not be coming from the Philippine coffers. It will come from the contributions of all companies that handle or receive oil from abroad or here. They are the so-called oil receivers. It is funded, this is mutual fund, quote unquote, is actually sourced from the various members of the maritime industry involved in oil. So there's no cost to the Philippines in that. And then the other one is perhaps we may consider giving competencies and the proper equipment and training to the PCG, the Marina, the DNR, NAMBRIA, for them to have the different remote operated vehicles and other special equipment, because imagine we had to wait for the goodness of Japan and the US for us to know where that vessels sunk. And in fact, again, the province mate of Chairman PD, the good Secretary Boying Remulla, in fact, already authorized that the NBI can secure our own special equipment for that purpose. Because we have divers, but we don't have equipment. So we will be asking the help of you, Your Honors, the Congress, for funding for this purpose.
Sige,
And apart from that, we will be suggesting also the creation of a special fund similar to, I'm sure you're so young, Your Honor, you may not know about the oil stabilization fund before. When we had that oil crisis, there was that oil stabilization fund that was created by President Marcos, the older one, senior, the APO. He created that one in order to soften the blow of the worldwide fuel crisis at that time, oil crisis at that time. Archipelago country without any ROB. Imagine. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yusek. So I guess that I think helps us, no, because as was already mentioned previously, I did file a bill for marine pollution convention, and those kinds of inputs, including the signing of the supplemental protocol fund, could actually be made part and parcel of part of its agenda. But aside from heavy equipment that can go under water and so on, may I suggest to the PSG and to Marina, PCG, sorry, Philippine Coast Guard, and to the Marine, para ma-digitize at hindi kayo nadidengoy ng fake documents. That might be cheaper and maybe take longer though than buying the equipment, which is also, as I believe, part of the PCG's.
Thank you, Representative Benitez. Representative Manuel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Meron din po tayong ilang mga tanong. Nais ko lang pong balikan, Madam Chair, na suppose mag-cross sa ating mga karagatan o bodies of water. And napansin din naman po natin doon sa naging discussion natin so far na tila ba ay merong hindi na exercise na due diligence doon sa pag-approve ng paglalayag nitong kasi hindi pwedeng tila ba ay walang magiging accountable doon sa bakit napayagan at hindi lang pala isang beses, several times na nag-sale itong Princess Empress. So ano po ba yung ating protocol o policy natin when it comes to yung pag-scrutinize natin ng mga dokumento? Kasi po kapag hindi matibay yung ating protocol, ang dating po niyan, di kung familiar lang tayo, no, yung mga taong involved doon sa agency, kung familiar lang sila doon sa vessel o kilala nila yung shipping company kung saan affiliated ang ganong vessel, pwedeng mabigyan ng consent, tas parang yung mga dokumento ay tila ba'y ministerial na lamang, wala nang scrutinize talaga, So ano po yung tugon doon ng PCG, Madam Chair?
Thank you, PCG.
Madam Chair, to answer the question of the honorable member, immediately after this incident, the commandant has issued directive to all PCG personnel directly involved in clearing departing vessels. That's to ensure that all issued statutory safety documents by Marina are original or certified true copy. So in line with that, we have immediately conducted personnel especially those involved in clearing vessels. We call it our vessel safety inspectors. We have done that in my shop, being the Maritime Safety Services Commander. Immediately after that, we have conducted the review policy on Master's Declarations of Safety Departure. This is to ensure that the master and our personnel should check that the master, in all respect, that the vessel is safe to sail. And secondly, the review of our existing SOP on pre-departure inspection, that our personnel should ensure that they will faithfully carry out their thank you, Madam Chair.
Next, Madam Chair, sa bahagi naman po ng DOJ, dahil nga kailangan hindi tayo magpatumpik-tumpik doon sa pagsisik nung DOJ. Ano yung tinatanaw nating timeline doon sa pagpaproseso at paghanda ng mga kaso na ating isusulong?
Representative from DOJ.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Fletigan Chun. I'm a senior state counsel at the Department of Task Force that was formed, Madam Chair, within DOJ, and the case build-up is underway for this, Madam Chair, and our USEC has committed that within 2 weeks we should be able to file some cases, no? So the members of the task force can already file these cases. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, maaari po ba nating ma-request na ma-furnish ang members ng committee na ito ng copies ng mga para din magabayan tayo sa susunod pang mga hakbang din ng committee at sa upcoming na meetings din tackling this issue.
Noted, Representative Manuel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Now for my next questions, oil spill sa ating mga kababayan. Kung meron po tayong resource persons na apektado, lalong-lalo na yung ating mga fisher folk, I'd like to address this question sa kanila, Madam Chair, na so far, nung mga panahon na hindi nakakapangisda, ano ba yung mga natanggap nila? Meron bang ayuda? Anong forms of aid yung kanilang na-receive, Madam Chair?
Excuse Madam Chair, pinamalay regarding the situation on the ground.
Isang magandang tanghali po. Ako po si Aldrin Villanueva po, presidente po ng Mangingisda naman po ng oil spill. Meron man pong mga ayuda po lalo po galing nasyonal sa pamamagitan po ng ating mahal na mayor ng Pola ay nakakapanghingi sa nasyonal at naibaba niya sa munisipal hanggang barangay. Kaya lang po, sa 2 buwang mahigit po namin, ang tanong po namin hanggang kailan po? At saan po kami kukuha ng pang-araw-araw na gastusin para dun sa malilit namin mangingisda? Dahil sa dami po ng mangingisda po sa amin sa probinsya po ng Mindoro, lalo na po sa amin sa bayan ng Pola, ay napakahirap po ang araw po. Ay yun po ang tinatanong namin at kung kailan po kami hanggang mabibigyan ng tulong hangga't hindi kami nakakapalaot po. Kasi wala rin naman pong wala makapagsabi kahit sino na kung kailan kami makakapaghanap buhay. At bakit hindi po umaangat po siya eh. Ay di pabalik-balik lang po ang problema. Kami naman intay lang ng intay kung kailan kami makakapalaot. Yun lang po.
Representative Manuel.
Madam Chair, since ang BFAR naman ay nagkakonduct ng mga test, nais po nating i-inquire, hindi ba agad na nire-release ng mga nagte-test doon sa mga constituents ng apektadong mga lugar? So maybe BFAR can answer the question, Madam Chair.
BFAR.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Kagaya po ng nabanggit kanina, ang amin pong results ay once po na mailabas yung results. And aside from that, meron po kaming group chat ng lahat ng mga municipal agriculture officer. And ay naipopost din po doon yung result po na yun once naman na lumabas yung technical report. Salamat po.
Thank you, BFAR. Representative Manuel.
And Madam Chair, mga apektadong munisipyo. So ating pino-point out, Madam Chair, na kailangan hindi mawala dun sa picture talaga na yung compensation sa kanila ay matiyak natin at sana ay natin yun, mapanghawakan natin yun bilang isa sa mga dapat na outputs ng ating mga proseso at investigation. Finally, Madam Chair, ang usapin naman ng kalusugan dahil meron ding impact sa health yung oil spill. We receive reports na may mga nakaka-inhale tapos kahit mismo sa balat. Kaya kung meron po bang DOH among our resource persons o kung sino man po yung pwedeng makasagot, sa ano po yung mga measures natin para din pangalagaan yung kalusugan ng ating mga kababayan?
Maybe DNR can say something about it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. May I inform the body that in the first week already, when the DNR undersecretaries, including the DOH secretary, were there, the safety of the public would not be compromised. And so as to the air quality, Madam Chair, the DOH also had done something with the DNR and the local government by ensuring that those who would do the cleanup will wear the personal protective equipment. And so these are the things that as to the health aspect. And the DOH conducted some separate studies on this. So the groundwater was tested and the air quality was also sampled. And the sampling as to the affected communities, well, I'm not aware of that, ma'am, but Madam Chair, but we could gather information on it if there has been test done. so far.
Madam
Thank you,
Chair,
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Thank
Madam
you,
Chair.
thank you.
Ano lang po, at least may gusto namin panood sa inyo yung may idea kayo yung oil spill before and oil spill until yesterday. Meron po kasi kami na video to present to you at least 3 minutes of your time para lang din alam nung iba na ano na yung nangyari right now dun sa oil spill sa Ground Zero Ispola. At least alam niyo po yung idea na ito na pala yung kahit yung sand natin ano yung nangyari po. So yung Committee on Environment namin, kahit 3 minutes lang po, o kahit pababain lang namin, para may idea lang po kayo, what is Pola right now, and ano yung effect talaga ni oil spill sa amin. Kung okay lang po, Madam Chair.
3 minutes, Mayor.
Sige.
And then yung questions po, if ever there'll be questions about the the 3-minute presentation,
Yes po.
it will be on the next meeting.
Yeah,
Yes po,
please.
if
Opo.
ever. Okay, go ahead, Mayor.
Nasa kanila po yung video and Committee on Environment namin will present it to you.
Good afternoon, Your Honors. Permission to present to you the images of the damages and effects of the oil spill in our municipality. So first, our mangrove areas are literally affected. In fact, there are at least 533 hectares affected of our mangrove area, sir and ma'am. Next slide, please. Our we have 7 fish sanctuaries in Pola, and they are totally affected. Also, in terms of hectares, there are 438 hectares already affected, sir. Then, these are the present state of our fish sanctuaries. You can view from 2 feet, the view from 2 feet, the view from at least 5 feet, and the view from at least 6 feet. So, makikita po talaga na apektado yung aming mga fish sanctuaries. Our beach resort tourism actually is one of our economic drivers, but our resorts are also affected. So our popular tourist destination are closed. The health and safety of our residents are also compromised. And yes, earlier we heard that water supply is also restricted. That's why kami po ay nagrarasyon ng tubig sa aming mga mamamayan hanggang ngayon po yan. These are the sample of fish kills, and of course, patuloy pa po ang sinasabing fishing ban sa aming municipality and the unavailability of marine products. Practically, it has disturbed our normal way of life. Patuloy ang cleanup, even government officials on weekends are engaged in coastal cleanups. We're still under a state of calamity. We have curfew hours, and even public celebrations like fiesta are not allowed. In total, there are 4,839 families affected in the 11 coastal barangays of the municipality of Pola. And so this oil spill actually have serious threat to our marine ecosystem. Our seashores, these are samples of the oil that were recovered and in fact have already been removed from Pola. Ganun pa man po, kahit wala na yung mga langis na makikita sa aming karagatan, as of May 3, we discovered na pagka yung aming buhanginan ay aming hinukay, ayan po ang mga makikitang tubig. So, affected pa rin po yung aming mga coastal areas. And just last Sunday, when our kabayan visited Pola, hindi lang pala sa buhanginan po ang aming mga nananatiling mga langis, kundi sa mga bato na iyan, pagka binuklat, ang ilalim ay mga langis pa rin po. So we are afraid na kahit wala na nakikita on the surface ng mga langis, ay ang aming dalampasigan ay patuloy na nagiging apektado po. So thank you very much po.
Madam Chair, thank you so much for the time na binigay niyo sa amin. At least nakita niyo po what Paula is right now. Thank you so much.
Maraming salamat din, Mayor. We feel for you. Asahan nyo na kaya tayo nag-hearing dahil para hindi lang matulungan yung na ma-prevent na mangyari ulit sa iba or sa inyo itong nangyaring ito, and of course para mas strengthen pa yung mga laws and policies ng ating bansa. Representative Manuel.
Yeah, Madam Chair, mula dun sa ating nakita sa presentation ng LGU ng Paula, edi nararamdaman natin yung gravity ng issue. It affects our environment, our economy. Kaya naman, Madam Chair, reiterate ko lang na dapat merong mapanagot sa nangyari. Dapat ay merong magbayad at dapat din sa susunod nating ng MT Princess Empress. And with that, Madam Chair, para din mas magkaroon pa ng panahon para mapakinggan natin ang posisyon ng